know you guys are all waiting for it. Oh, please tell me that that's not going to happen. I just had my UPS going crazy on me. I know you guys are all waiting for it.
Oh, hold on a second.
Please tell me that that's not going to happen. I am listening to myself because I forgot to close
just had
all my
browser
UPS going crazy. All right, I know you guys are all waiting for this. It's been a little while. But hi, I'm Lee. Or I'm Lee. So it's been a long time. It's been almost a year, probably more than a year since I've been live. And 2021 was a crazy, insane-o year. This may look familiar to some of you who are familiar with the More Money Less Traffic series, the original one, the one that is not nearly as exciting as the one I've been making for the last couple years. This city, I think the last save was dated 2019. So it's been about 3 years since I've been in this city, and I thought, hey, this would be a great city because it's about as vanilla as I can come up with on a dime. I just sort of got this idea very late in the game as far as showing off the Airports DLC. So you'll notice that this is a little bit bigger than it used to be. It's over 120,000. It's not 80,000, so it's about 50% bigger. Added a few neighborhoods, filled in a few old ones. We can take a look at that later. But you're all here for the Airports DLC. Now, first off, I'm just going to call this an unboxing because I have not spent a lot of time with this just yet. So you're going to get to learn about this the same time as me, which is probably not typically how I like to do things. But if you have any ideas of stuff I can do, please feel free to shout it out because I don't have a huge amount of plans here. I'm probably not going to have look as polished as City Planner has in his videos. So if you guys have been checking those out, definitely, if you haven't been checking those out, definitely go check them out. But anyway, yeah, so this is my big grid city, and it's got a public transportation system, so we're going to be able to take advantage of that. It's got 3 metro lines. It's got a pretty good amount of bus lines too. Whoops, that's not where I wanted to go. This is bus lines. I suppose this is all of them actually. There's a handful of bus lines, not nearly as many as there are metro. Oh, that's right. I guess there are a few here now. It's been a little while. Okay, so I have built the ugliest interchange known to man, and basically just made it so that this highway plugs in with a full interchange. It used to be a 3-way interchange like we see on most of our vanilla maps. This is a vanilla map. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but that's probably the ugliest interchange I think I've ever built in a long time since I started getting good at City Skylines a few years ago. So we're going to build an airport, and I thought this land over here looked pretty good. I do have a few mods installed, nothing really heavy. I don't even have any of the ones that I really, really want, because I want this live stream to run pretty smoothly. So it looks like this land here is fairly flat for this map, and it has good access to those 2 highways, and we do have some rail that we could plug into if we really want to, although I never built any passenger stations. So we could build a brand new rail system for this whole thing if we want to. Or at least just add, something that allows people to land and then leave the city if they want to on surface transportation. So first thing we need to do is take a look at how this whole airports thing works. If you are familiar with the Park Life or the Industries DLCs, this is going to be very familiar in a lot of ways, but there are some flourishes that they've added for the Airports DLC that you're not going to recognize quite as much. Okay, so first thing we need to do, because all these buildings are locked when we play vanilla style, is we need to create an airport area. And that's, go over here to districts and areas, and you get the airplanes. So painting an airport area is not like painting a park or an industrial area. It's a little different because what's going to happen is the game is going to level things out automatically. So hopefully I am not too heavy duty on the slopes. I have too much soil. So let's start from a higher point here. Yeah, there we go. That should be better. I need a lot of room. Wow, I ran out of soil in a hurry there. Alright, this is why I like having the contour lines active. Let's see if I can find something that's a little bit in the middle. No. Alright, let's just work with this one then. I think... yeah, okay. Now I have the opposite problem. Too much soil. Yeah, the perfectionist in me is not letting me... okay, yeah, I think I got a good level in here now. Oh, I've got too much soil again. Looks like I've picked a spot that is not as flat as I wished. Now there are some new maps. Maybe we can take a look at those later. Alright, I'm going to sell some soil. So this is a new feature. I think this is in the vanilla game. That's actually kind of pricey to get rid of 99 tons of soil, 50,000 credits, roughly. But we'll do it. And continue. And now we already have too much soil again. I hope I'm not putting this down, sinking this down into too low. Yeah, I kind of am. Well, let's see here. Let's get rid of this airport area and just pick an area level that's a little higher. I'm just going to be kicking against the goads here if I don't do something about that. Alright, so this is what I would recommend doing based on what I have already done. Find some area that is like in the middle, right click, and then throw down here. And just make that big enough so that we can get an area built. I think that should do. Alright, whoops. I want areas again. Okay, here we go. Let's try this one more time. Aha. That's a little better. Now I'm going to have the opposite problem. Alright, so you can sell soil to buy soil, which will buy back what we sold. And I'm sure I'm going to run out again. So this is a little bit of a pain in some ways, but at the same time, it's not like it was where you used to have to build a mountain somewhere else on the map in order to flatten out a big area like this. Now in real life, oh hey, looks like I might be hitting some equilibrium here. Take a little soil over here, push it around over there. It doesn't last very long, doesn't go very far. Alright, so we'll buy a little more. That should be good enough. Should be good enough to lay a runway in, which is our #1 thing that we need to do pretty quick here. Alright, so where's our highway? It is right over here. That's pretty good. I'm not going to go into that hill. But I do need a huge amount of real estate here. This is not like any other DLC. This actually makes airports much more realistic. They're still going to be pretty small. If you look at real life airports, it's going to be pretty slow. Now, Amity, I don't know if I like that name. That's the city that Jaws came in, if you're familiar with 1980s films. So why don't we call this... oh, you know what? I never renamed this city the way I should have. Its actual name is Demoville. Whoops. Demoville International Airport. And let's make sure that we've got the right name here. Alright, so now we need a terminal. And those are going to be found under the public transportation. There'll be airport areas under there. Now there's a few different styles here. And there's styles within the style. So we've got the classic airport terminal, which is going to basically be very, very small. And then we've got a classic 2-story terminal, which is good for bigger cities with more traffic. And there's each of these for, there's a modern architecture, there's a ultra modern architecture, and then there's a classic architecture. So, you know, I'm going to look at downtown here for a second. Let's see what we think. This has got a lot of modded buildings, well, a lot of different assets and stuff that I had picked up. There's a lot of modern looking buildings. I kind of think that we should probably go with the modern look. So we'll do that. And I'm going to lay that down. Now, the runway is going to take up a huge amount of space. Taxiways are going to take up a huge amount of space. So we don't want to end up cramping ourselves for space, which is going to be really easy to do with this DLC. So we'll start right here. Yeah, let's start. You can right click and then drag, and it'll allow you to rotate this around as you move left to right or up and down. Well, I don't think up and down so much, but left to right will rotate here. So I think we'll just put it right. We'll throw it right here. And now it opens up a whole bunch of stuff for us. Unfortunately, that is only the beginning. All right, so now what we have to do first and foremost is we need to bring down that highway and connect some roads so we can get people in and out of the terminal. Now, this is another thing where you probably don't want to get too crazy thinking it's going to be permanent. So unless you're really, really used to building your own airports and you're familiar with this DLC, I know for me personally, it's going to take me a little bit of getting used to in order to build nice, attractive airports here. Ooh, I'm not following the terrain lines very well here, am I? Go down here, down by the railroad tracks. That should be better than most. The grade police are off duty, just so you know. Alright, so now, go with a straightaway right here. And we'll connect up. We'll go with the bottom level first. And now we need to hit the top level up here. Now, these are really close together, so it's going to be a little bit of work to get this level, this down to the right level, and it doesn't want to use my typical dirt roads. It doesn't like that too well. And I'm going to go backwards with these one-ways. I'm just going to go straight down right here. And want to keep a 45-degree angle there if we can. Because otherwise everything will have to slow down. Less than 45. It'll force the 45. Now that's only if I can get it to... There we go. Okay, we'll do that. This should line straight up. There we go. Alright, so our Sims can get into the airport. Let's... actually, you know what? I don't want to upgrade that just yet. Because if I do, I will lose my ability to use the grid lines to help me keep this sort of looking better. Alright. Now there are ways of making these parallel lines look a whole lot better. I plan on making a video to show how. This will not be that video. Okay, I think that lines up decently. Alright, so now I have to bring this back around. And we're going to have some other buildings in here because some of the buildings that we've got, this is where I'm hoping I won't make too many ridiculous mistakes. There are buildings that are decorative. Here are the decorative buildings. So we've got a budget airport hotel, small hangar. Those go on the taxiways. And then, of course, we've got a few planes that are just going to hang around and be parked and make the airport look like stuff is happening. Stuff will actually be happening once we get this thing going here. We really need to lay some groundwork, though. So I want to make sure I have plenty of space in order to make this function. So I'm going to go around here again. And hopefully I can get this to line up decently. This is the hardest part. Especially without mods. I'm used to doing this with mods. So much easier. Okay, I think... Aha! There, that works. Okay. So I'm going to keep that... I think I'm going to keep that as a... Do I have anything wider? I don't have anything wider. Alright, so we're going to just run this as a one-way road, I think. And I'm going to run it all the way back here. Okay, and then I will go back to my dirt roads. Should be able to link this right up. Yeah, that's not too bad. Could be much worse. Alright, so now let's upgrade this all to highway. We're going to do the same up here. We're going to make sure that we don't have all of that as highway running straight up to the terminal, because we don't want any sims to get hit by a car running at freeway speeds, right? Just gotta upgrade this, make sure it's going the right direction. Alright, hey, we got an airport. Okay, so I'm just going to keep on barreling through here, and then I'm going to check out what you guys have been saying over there and say hello to everybody in just a second here. Alright, so we've got a nice terminal, and it is connected to our road system through this interchange. And now we need to start making it so we can put planes in here. Now the first thing I think we should do, because it's going to really take up a lot of space, is make sure that we have a runway. I think that's this one right here. Alright, so we can have multiple runways, but I'm only going to be concerned about building one of them. Now, one of the things that, I mean, in real life you'd be concerned about flight paths and stuff like that. I don't think I have too much to worry about. These planes aren't going to be landing right over town, because my city's on the other side of the river and I've got all this water in the way. So that's kind of nice. I know I actually live right underneath a flight path for Cleveland Hopkins Airport. And at least one of the runways, not the one that is probably used the most. Alright, so in real life, that's actually kind of short for a big airport runway. And I'm not sure if we can make this longer, but I know we can rearrange some things later if we so desire. And we could even, add a second runway in here if we wanted to. I'm going to stick with a single runway. I'm going to go with only build what you need when you need it, which is one of the philosophies you might have seen in some of my videos. Now, one of the things I also need is a taxiway. And it'd probably help if I ran it the right direction. All right, so when planes take off, they're going to go in this direction. So that means they're going to be coming from the terminal and going over here. And then when they're landing, they're going to come down here, and then they're going to taxi into the terminal in that direction. So I want to make sure my taxiways are going the right direction. And when where these arrows are is where our taxiways are going to be. So let's just run a taxiway alongside the runway here. Now I'm sure there are people following my channel who are much better versed on how airports are designed than I am. I've looked into it a little bit, but only a little. Now it's giving me a hard time. Oh, that's because I'm in the wrong spot. There we go. So if you have any tips on how to design a more realistic looking airport, please, especially leave them in the comments. I might miss them if they're in the chat. I'm going to be checking the chat in a bit. We'll try to make some changes here if we can. But it's really important to me to be somewhat realistic, and I have never had enough time to study how to do that with this, but I really feel like this is a huge step in the right direction that Colossal Order has taken with the game here. Okay, so now we need to start building some concourses. We're going with the modern style. Now you can mix and match these. So we're going to put in a concourse. And I'm just going to build the concourse in one direction from the terminal and leave the other side for expansion later. So let's go down in this direction. Okay, that'll be a decent start right there, I think. And I need a control tower, so that's pretty important. We'll put that over here. It'll have a good view as the airport expands. And now I want to have some place for my airplanes to actually stand as they get to the concourses here, where the passengers will be loaded and unloaded. So these just are right under here by the runways. You can actually get bigger ones. There's medium, large, and cargo. We're going to try to use all of these. Hopefully we'll be able to get to that in this live stream. Things should go a little faster here. I'm just trying to squish these in as close as I can. There we go. They have to be right on the concourse, but they don't want to snap to the last one. I'll just go with 4 of those for now. And now they have to be connected up with taxiways. That way our airplanes can taxi. And since the taxiways are going... We want this to go about the same direction as the taxiways, because incoming planes are going to come in over here, and they're going to leave, and then go try to take off. So we will just build this out here for now. And I'm going to make this really super simple. I don't think I can reverse... Oh, I can reverse the direction of this. It looks like I can't get a perfectly straight line unless I plan it out a lot more than I have time for right now. Alright, so we have everything we need, I think, for a functional airport at this point. We've got our taxiway so that the planes can come back to the terminal and go take off and get to the runway. Now I need to get some electricity and some power in here. Some electricity and water, I'm sorry. I'm just going to start over here. And I'm going to go with a really utilitarian... Oh, I can't go that way. I don't want to go over the runway. I'm just going to follow this highway and the rail line until I can get into Cargo Park here. There we go. So we're all set. That's got electricity. Now, water is kind of a weird thing because each of these buildings, a lot of them need water, including the stands. Not entirely sure why the stands are like that, but probably Yeah, I know they do wash the planes from time to time. Plus, they do have to put water on them to run the lavs. So, yeah, I guess that makes sense. It does. It would need water in real life. Just usually it would get it from the concourse. You can get water to the concourse, but it's not going to get water to the stands here. And you can already see the planes are starting. So now, since this is a good public transportation city, there's one more thing I want to do. And that is to add an airport bus station. I could probably go without that. If I click on the airport area thing here, we can see that there's not a whole lot going on here yet. We do have a few passengers that have taken off or landed here. We need to get up to 500 passengers and then build an attractiveness score of 200 or better. Transit is going to be important. I'm really not liking the idea that I'm going to rely on buses so heavily because this really isn't a very bus type airport. Now let's see if I can get to the concourse. If I can get this to line up. It does not seem to want to do it. Alright, so I might need to add more concourse over here. Let's expand this. Let's see here. I'm going to pause the game. And I might just rethread some of this a little bit. Public transportation. Alright, now that works. Let's see how far away I can get this. Still have it fit. Alright, we'll try that. Now let's reconnect our roads. There we go. Alright, now this is a little bit of a challenge right here because we really want our buses to be able to come in here, but we don't want them having to go through the terminal in order to get back to the highway, to go back into the city. So we will build a cutoff right here. And that cutoff will be a good spot too. We'll make it two-way. I'm going to just make it so that it's the highway starts right there. So this cutoff will make it so that buses can not only shortcut across to get to the highway to leave without going through the terminal, but it will also allow cars that need to circle around, because we all know if we're in the US that we can't just go pick up our friends and family at the airport, because that would be too easy. Okay, so we have everything we need except for a bus line, I think, and then we'll let this roll. This should keep our traffic down a little bit at the airport, but it'll still look pretty busy. So we'll put a stop right there, and since we're mostly concerned about getting people in and out of the city center, let's put a bus stop right here in the heart of downtown so that it'll allow transfers from Metro. Eventually we'll be able to get a Metro in here, and that is what I'm really looking forward to. Now let's see if we can add a few stops to this bus line here. That would make sense. Okay, so they're getting on the highway right here. You know, I think I'm just going to leave that. I don't really want to have all that many. I just really want that to just leave. Just get out of town and go out to the airport and get people out there. Alright, so now, I'm not sure which part this is. I actually have all of the DLCs loaded. The new content creator packs, I should say. Let's see here. Which bus line is that? Let's make sure we have that be a color so we can identify it. We'll make it... Let's try and make it orange. Okay. And we'll just call this the Airport Express. So, vehicles. You probably saw something about this. There are some new vehicles. We had the bus and the school bus. The bus looks much nicer, I think. Looks like they have refreshed the model for that, which is great. So now we have a number of buses, and I actually have a couple of mods loaded. These are mods, but super bendy bus, mini bus, double-decker bus, bendy bus, double-decker airport bus, articulated airport bus. Those are new. I'm not sure which ones are. I think these might be from the Airports DLC, and these might be from vehicles. I think it would be kind of cool for Demoville to have a double-decker bus that comes into the airport. So we'll make those double-decker buses. And those have a capacity that's twice as much as the typical bus. Hopefully that will be enough. Not really sure how many vehicles we're running. Okay, so we've got 32. That's going to be a lot of buses. So our bus terminal, our bus depot, I should say, is probably spitting out buses like crazy. Yes, it is. So that's going to be fun. Because that's a long line. But we'll let that run, and then I will take a look at what you folks have to say in the chat. Whoa! So hopefully I can page up and page down on this thing. Ah, I can. Okay, good. Chris Cullen, hey, great to see you. Thanks for coming. Chris is one of our longtime Patreon members and really has added a lot to the channel with his feedback, so I really appreciate having you here, Chris. Waleed Hassan, glad to see you again. Sir Korat and Lascosity, another longtime fan of the channel. Glad to have you here too. So many of you here, I'm gonna just go through and see. I hope you at me. I forgot to tell you guys to do that. Let's see here what else we have. I hope everybody can hear me well. I think you can. It sounds like it. I don't see anything saying otherwise. How surprised were you with the announcement of this DLC and the execution of the actual thing? I have not been paying attention to the execution so much, but I have been. I was actually a little surprised. I didn't know they were working on this. This seems like a good DLC. It seems like Colossal Order, I know, has brought in a lot of modders over the last year or so, or last few months maybe even, and a lot of asset creators, and they have, I think, had a lot of really seriously good input that Colossal Order has taken into account here. So I'm really happy with what I see so far. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens as we get this thing growing up a little bit more. Let's see if I can find anything else in here. Yes, this is a Two Rivers map. Joy Build Cities, glad to have you here. Joy is a descendant of Frederick Law Olmsted, which, if you have seen the name Olmsted around the United States, it's a very popular name on college campuses, in city parks. He designed Central Park in New York City originally, and I believe he had a lot of input in designing the layout and the way the roads and everything go through Yosemite Valley and Yosemite National Park, which is probably the nearest and dearest to my heart of any of the things that he ever did. His sons, the Olmsted brothers, had a business where they were also landscape architects like their father, and they built and designed a lot of parks, even here in the greater Cleveland area and all across the country. I believe like Ohio State University down in Columbus, as well as the Rocky River Reservation, which I can walk to from my house. Lots of fun places all across the United States were brought to you by the Olmsted family. So Joy also has a channel. Go check her out. She has much more to say on that. And definitely features that design aspect with landscape architecture in her channel. And Chris pointed out that Jaws was 1975. Yes, you're right. I forgot. That's the 70s. I grew up in the 80s mostly, so that's when I saw it. It was on TV all the time. Mr. Doran, glad to see you again. Let's see if we have anybody else here. Giving the game an extra square. I hope they make a whole lot more. I actually installed a mod that allows me to get all 25 tiles in the center of the map. It's not quite as heavy duty or as changey as the 81 tiles mod, which I typically play with. But I wanted to make sure the stream was smooth for everybody. Hopefully there's some planes. Oh, hey, there's one taxiing right there. This is going to be like a real airport where you taxi forever. And there comes one for a landing. We're going to follow one of those planes and just see how they did with the AI. I think you guys are going to find that entertaining. It's a little better than it was before, but it's still, well, you'll see. Let's see here. It's trying to helpful to those who think 9 tiles isn't enough. That's true. Yeah, the population is 122,000. I think that's actually on 6 tiles. 5 or 6 tiles. But yeah, it's inflated for sure. And yeah, I have noticed that garbage is a problem. I'm probably going to have to build another garbage facility out here. This predates the Green Cities expansion, which I think has or maybe it's Sunset Harbor that has the waste disposal facility. So we probably build some of those. Let's see here. Adding more taxiways for, oh, oops. Let's see how. Okay, one-way taxiways aren't realistic. You get backups of planes waiting for a gate since the game doesn't have ground controllers or an operations center to set gates or taxi instructions. I'm sure that's true. I'd recommend adding more taxiways, Nathan D says. For example, in real life, let's say you get out towards the runway, but then need to return to the gate. You can't just make a U-turn and taxi down the runway. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Interesting thought there. I will keep that in mind. Let's see here. Also, if you put taxiways too close to each other, give them space so the wingtips don't touch. Okay. There's a known performance issue of a lot of taxiways causing simulation lag on faster simulation speeds. Okay, good tip. Glad to know. It'd be cool to see hotels near the airport. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Actually, I need to do that so it'll level up. Chris says the purchase of the mod is a good one. Allows you to purchase a square regardless of milestone. Oh, I did not realize that. That was one of the things I must have missed. I love your content, but can't afford to buy the game and all the DLCs. Okay, yeah, this is a great question. Scorpion Taz wants to know which DLCs are the best. Now, I'm sure everybody has got their own ideas. I would love to hear them in the comments. I think probably just going with the game itself is great to start. I feel like one of the ones that allows me to be the most creative is probably, I haven't thought about this a whole lot in a while, so I'm probably going to say something and then be like, oh no, this is what I really mean. But I really like being able to add parks. I think park life is a huge essential. I think Green Cities is really underrated because there's a lot of things you can do to clean up your pollution and a lot of good power plants that don't pollute as much in Green Cities. After Dark, I feel like is really important because with After Dark, you can add bicycle infrastructure. And I'm not 100% pleased with how the bicycle infrastructure has been executed. If you're at all familiar with Dutch urban planning, then you know what I'm talking about. Protected bike lanes and things like that, I would love to see those in the game. So if you're listening, Colossal Order. Yeah, so that would be really super great to have that. But After Dark is a great DLC that I would totally recommend. And then mass transit's really important, I feel like, although it's becoming less so. It does allow road assets. Now, some mods have been able to get around that better than Network Extensions 2 did. But I think mass transit's a good one. And not because of the blimps, and not because of the monorails. Cable cars can be useful, though, if you've got a lot of steep terrain on your map. It can make a big difference. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, Industries is another one. I didn't think about that. I'm not really a big fan of how Industries are executed if you really, really want a good industrial simulator. I think there are other games out there, but one I am really, really addicted to right now, and one I'm planning on making some videos about in the near future, once we get some more money, less traffic, videos out there again is Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. Wow, that game is fantastic. It is a steep learning curve though. And I'm hoping to make some tutorials that will help relieve that to a degree, especially once the game is finished. But for right now, my good friend Chris, also known as B-Ball-Joe, has made a lot of great videos on Workers and Resources. So if you're really interested in seeing what that game looks like, go find B-Ball-Joe. That's B-B-A-L-L-J-O. B-Ball-Joe does some fantastic Workers and Resources tutorials and videos. So highly recommend that. He also does some City Skylines here and there, as well as Transport Fever 2, which is another game I've been eyeing lately, especially since it's been on sale. I just saw that on my email today. Yes, and City Planner Plays. Somebody mentioned Jennifer Peterson. Phil is a great friend of mine too. So City Planner Plays, he has some great videos, probably better tutorials than I'm going to have for a while on the airport DLC. Also, he has some he has a great video. That's what it was. I was going to say that Jennifer is pointing out that oh my goodness, I can't think straight. He has videos about which of the DLCs he prefers the most. I have my own list. It's a little different, but I think Phil may be wanting to change that. I think he's going to be coming up with a new video. I saw that not too long ago. And I have not tried Timberborn, although I've heard that I've been in Timberborn thanks to City Planner Plays, so that was fun. Some DLCs have like one feature that's not even the headline. Trams and Snowfall. Yes, I love trams, but Snowfall seems like a lot of money to spend. Oh, by the way, this is going to come out in More Money, Less Traffic Part 8, but look for the Paradox sales. Paradox has some great sales, and they show up on Steam sometimes. Sometimes you don't get them right away. You can get the Steam keys elsewhere at the lower price. Most of the time, these sale prices are also on my Nexus store. I'm going to have a link in the description for that. If you look in my other videos, though, for sure, it will have a link to my Nexus store. I'm not sure if the Airports DLC is in there yet. I haven't checked. Hopefully it will be. But I would love, if you want to support the channel and buy the game, look for a sale. I don't make much money when it's on sale, I'll tell you that, and I don't really care. I want you to have the game. I want you to have fun. So make sure you wait for the sale if you're really on a budget. Buy the game. I don't care what price. It's worth it. But the DLCs, maybe buy your favorite ones, but hold off on some of the ones you're not sure about. I think Snowfall is definitely worth it if you can get it on sale. The older ones like After Dark, even I think Green Cities and Mass Transit are ridiculously cheap on sale. So look for that near like US holidays and stuff like that. And I think you'll find yourself pleasantly surprised by how much less they cost. Oh yeah, Campus. I love the Campus one too. Campus is actually nice. I like that one a lot too. So many things. Oh yeah, put them on the wish list. Steam will notify you when it goes on sale. And then if you really want to support the channel, go to my Nexus page in the description on the video. I don't have it in there yet. I will after we're done. And you can find it, I think, on my channel page or on any of the other videos. Now I'm having problems here. Back to the building. I'm probably missing some attractiveness. I'm going to check that in a second. But I'm having a little trouble with these buses getting backed up. So, that's going to be a problem. Maybe I just need to run more bus lines. I'm not really sure. So let's check out the airport area here. I am getting close to having... I'm about halfway to the passenger count. Let me see if I can up the attractiveness. And also there's a policy on here, and this might actually help generate some air traffic. There's a few policies. There's hotel discounts, adds a bonus of 200 points to the airport's attractiveness rating. And that costs kind of a lot. So I'm not really sure I want to implement that one. Great maintenance adds a land value bonus to the whole airport. Since I don't have any land developed out here, that's not really going to help me either. And then tourists are much more likely to use cars if we turn on the car rentals policy. Now this one is probably worth it probably the biggest one there. I don't know that this is really going to add passengers for me. So let's see if we can get the hotel in here. Back to transport, and we need to go to decoration, buildings, budget airport hotel. I'm just gonna slap this in right here next to the bus terminal. This, for whatever reason, cannot be connected to the concourse. I wish it could. That would be super cool. And then we're gonna put some decorative planes out here. I'm gonna put a branch on the taxiways. Whoops. To do that though first. Let's build a branch over here. I'll probably end up having to move this around later. There we go. Rebuild that part. Okay, now I can place some parked planes over here. And we'll mix it up a little bit. There's 3 different types. That should probably be enough for what we're trying to accomplish. Let's see what our airport attractiveness is. So now, okay, now we're definitely bringing things in. I wish I had remembered to check the attractiveness before I checked the comments. Hey, we made it to level 2. It didn't take much. So this adds several different buildings. One of them that I am most excited about is the airport metro station, and that is probably going to be the first one that we're going to put in here, because I really need to get my metros connected. I'm not really a big fan of using buses in this particular airport. Now, the other thing that this adds is, well, let's see here. I think I need to move this power line. Let me bring that down here. Alright, now I can get that out of the way. And I'll extend that terminal. Now, one of the things that it has in here, and I haven't played with this. Alright, so let's go with an ultra-modern style here now. We'll mix and match a little bit here. It says an ultra-modern concourse hub. Now, it looks like I can make that go anywhere. Why don't we try? Let's do that and see how this works. This is probably totally the wrong way to use this. So let me know if you've got any ideas. I'm all ears. I think I need to extend this a little bit. Yeah, this is probably not a good idea. Alright, you know what? I got lots of money. Let's go the other direction. I really want to have that on the other side here, but let's extend this down here. We'll build a concourse hub right here. Extend a concourse like so. Alright, so let's put more stands in. Now we have the medium aircraft stand available now, so let's use that. I'm a little afraid of what I'm doing here. I think I'll just have to move that taxiway is all. last of it. So, airplanes, bigger airplanes want to come into our city. Let's hope I can connect all of these up. Ooh, can't connect that one. This is by far, like, a terribly inefficient way to build an airport for me. It's kind of bugging me, but we're just playing around, so it's good. And I don't want to have that be too sharp, so we'll do that. Okay, good. And we'll probably make some mistakes and see what we can do better as we do this. Alright, so this is a big old concourse expansion here, and I'll see if we have any more decorative buildings. Ooh, we have a luxury airport hotel. We can use that. Let's put this right here. What else do we have? Airline lounge. Oh, yeah. That we should definitely build. Yeah, we'll put that right here. Then I can watch the planes right there. Aviation fuel station. That probably goes on a taxiway. Oh, and I have to connect to the other side of the taxiway here. There we go. Now we can get some planes going on here. Now let me get some water over here. And over here. We're just going to go with the brute force method with the water, rather than trying to go underneath everything like I normally would. Yeah, it's ugly. But we're just playing around. I'll make a good airport at some point. Now we have to get electricity over here. Ooh, that's not a good problem to have. Alright, so I could build power lines across the taxiway, but I think that's a terrible idea. So instead of that, I'm going to go over to decoration. Let's see if we can add some parked medium-sized planes and have them spread. Yeah, that's what we want. So now we've got an aviation fuel station. We probably need to add that whole backwards the taxiway that goes back, like we had suggested earlier. So I'll do this really ugly. Because I don't know how to do it pretty right now. Alright, so now they can go back. Oh, those planes can't. The other ones cannot. Let's see if we can keep going on the wrong thing here. It just feels more like a road. Okay. So now they can taxi back over here to the aviation fuel station, or to the other terminal, if they made some kind of mistake. Let's see how attractive our airport is and how many passengers we need. Oh wow, we have to add a lot more attractiveness. We're only about halfway there. Well, one of the things that's going to make this a lot more attractive is public transportation. Can we do cargo yet? No, we cannot. Bummer. Okay. Elevated airport metro station. This is going to be tricky. So where can we put this? I think we should expand the airport in the other direction here, so that the concourse reaches it. Started with this over here, so we'll do the same. All right. Back to public transportation. Now it looks like we can add multiple metro stations, which is a handy thing here. And since we are at a height above, Yeah, we need to go over the highway here. And then we need to go over the river. And then where are we going to connect underground? I want to extend the... Is that the blue line? Yeah. The blue line just ends here in the Sycamore district. It'd be super cool to have it go under the river. So let's do that. So we'll do some metro tracks. And how do I make sure this is underground? Let's try that. Ah, yeah. Well. Oh, there we go. That's all I needed to do was page down. Sorry. Okay, so page down. It looks like we really need a sink to get under this river. So I'm going to build a little bit at a time here and hope for the best. This is where I really wish I had the straight slope tool. It looks like I'm going to be okay without it. Okay. Let's build over to get underneath the river. Don't want to do that. Okay, and we'll go with a curb road. There we go. Well, I already broke the power. Let's fix that. Metro. Okay, so we have to get this going down. So should I go under the highway or over the highway? I think I should go under it. Let's see if we can get that to be really long. There we go. Good. Don't want this. I'm really missing my mods about now. Underground. Okay. Now let's see where... Oh, okay, that's too much of an angle right there. I just need to go straight. Alright. And we're sinking again so that we can go right underneath the river here. That should do. I hope it'll do. And now we'll build a curved tunnel. This is probably not the way it would happen in real life, because this is a lot of tunneling in a place where it is unlikely to ever be anywhere near as useful as it could be. I could use precision engineering here and it would tell me if I was lined up. That's pretty close. Alright, so now we can extend the blue line. once I get a little water extended over here. Okay. Alright, let's get lines here. Alright, so this blue line we're going to drag right here. All the way up to the airport. Uh-oh. It doesn't like that. Let me make sure I didn't mess something up. Very easily could have. Huh. Doesn't seem to like that. I wonder what I did wrong. Oh, I don't think that's actually connected. So let's fix that. There we go. Now it should work. Yeah. We just need to add one more stop over here. There we go. So we have 2 stops there, and then the blue line heads out to the airport. This is probably going to create some problems because the blue line, as I recall, is super busy. Yeah, about 2,000 seems. Oh, no, we need more. We need more capacity. This is not working. All right, so let's pick a vehicle on this. Let's see what we have for metro trains. Ooh, Airport Express Metro. And that has, 30, I don't like that. S-Bahn train. Where's the, there we go. 204, that's a lot better than 150. Subway train. What's our size on this one? 400, ooh, that's nice. High capacity metro. 500. Hey, let's just go with the high capacity metro. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do that. And we'll reduce the budget to something more reasonable. Like 250, let's say. Let's just go with 200. I think that should be enough to handle the capacity on this line. If it's not, we'll just add more. Pretty simple. Because this is this blue line is really great, a really great choice here because it, I mean, we did pretty much double the length of it, but it goes all the way up to Emerson Heights and through Roseville, Lakewood, Lake Park, through Forest Park, right through the heart of downtown, and it has at least 2 connection points with the green and the red line, which spread out through the rest of the city. This should do a better job than the alternatives. Now, the other way I could have done this, just a little planning tip, is I could have just set up, maybe, you know, if there wasn't a whole lot of volume going out to the airport, which I don't know if there is. We're going to find out. If there's not a lot of airport volume, I could just make this still terminate here in Sycamore, and then have it just run a single line, and I could use those smaller subway trains or the Airport Express train in order to get out there. But I think this will do the trick for now. Let's see. Still haven't had any. Oh, here we go. So we got 2. That's not good. So just 2. I think we probably have overkill on this line. Now, if we developed around here, that would probably be worthwhile. It looks like we could maybe think of doing that, but I'm not sure how this is connected to our concourse. Okay, I see how that works. I don't know if there's an external connection here or not. Sort of looks like it, because it almost looks like stairs right there, or a ramp. I don't know. You know what? Let's find out. Let's... Maybe this will make it so that will... We'll just build a road right over here. I think it's... Oops. I don't want it to be underground. That sort of defeats the purpose. And we'll build some paths just to see if it collects any people. That should be enough. Alright, we'll see what happens with that. Let's get some more decoration over here at this airport. We've got our hotel. Let's see where we're at right now. I have no idea how close we are. Oh, 500. Ooh, that doesn't add to the attractiveness. Bummer. Well, that's a bummer. I know I find airports with public transportation, especially metros, much more attractive than ones without. So let's see if we can add, you know, as they all taxi out, we'll let them fuel up over here. And what else can we add? Now I imagine the more we add of these, it's very likely that these are not going to add as much to our score. If they're anything like Park Life is. Let's see. 690. Well, that's getting somewhere. Let's see if there's anything else we can add to our airport. So these terminals can add some attractiveness. We've got a control tower. Maybe we could add another control tower. This does happen at some airports. Since we've got a different wing there. Oh, that adds 100 in attractiveness. That's kind of nice. Yeah, that definitely helps. Now, I could add another one, which is kind of not the most realistic thing in the world. Sometimes they have secondary control towers, I think, that control what's going on the taxiways, as I think somebody pointed out earlier. Oh, that adds a whole full 100. That's interesting. So I must be wrong on that. Let's add more stuff. Whoops. Let's see. I could probably add another hotel then. Let's do that. Or what else do we have? We got airport lounge. Oh, hey. A large hangar. We don't have any of those. How much does that add for attractiveness? 80. Oh, yeah. We should get there with this. Get some water over there. Okay, good. We have the attractiveness now. So let's take a look around town here and see if you have any questions. I see you've been added a little bit. The Metro cars don't have 30 and 204. It works some moments after you put it. I haven't had any luck with placing paths in front of the airport Metro. No one uses them. Yeah. Large terminal variants have significant attractiveness values. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so this is one of the problems I've had with this city. I thought I got rid of this. Because there are manual ways of removing death waves. This is an old city. I don't think death waves are something... Excuse me. I don't think death waves are a problem for a lot of people today who are just picking up the game now. But since this city is about 3 years old, there's a lot of things that have changed. So the demographics of my city here are such that I end up with a huge amount of death all at once. So I'm going to add a whole bunch of crematoriums so that hopefully we'll clean those up and bring in more people as soon as possible. And hopefully all of these will have water when it's all said and done. Yes, this is a holdover from the bad old days. So hopefully that'll clean up. It'll get a little better. You think my airport is gorgeous? You know, it actually doesn't look too bad. You should have seen my first play around with this. It was bad. Alright, hey, we're getting some passengers. We are not quite using up all of the passenger seats. We do have a lot of passengers leaving and not so many coming. I'm not entirely sure why that would be, if it has anything to do with hotels. I don't know. I definitely think that it would be more fun. It'd be a lot of fun to sit here and really spend some time thinking out how I would want this to be designed. But I definitely think that this is pretty cool so far. I'm really digging this. Take a look at some of these models here. That's one of the airline lounges. And we've got our jetway right there. A couple of jetways. And I'm not sure if that is just for the larger... No, these are the small ones. Okay, so maybe one... I don't know. Oh, wow, they even have the trucks that load the food coming up to the plane. That's pretty cool. I don't know why they have two jetways. I don't think that I've seen terminals look quite like that in real life. Unless I just haven't been to enough airports, or just haven't noticed. I usually do notice things like that. Now let's see what the bigger ones look like. This is our... Oh no, those are bigger ones. Small ones, yeah, they still have two. Let's check out some of the detail, whoops, work that's been done. Hopefully there's a plane coming in. Oh, hey, there is. Let's follow that plane. So it's 68 out of 200 coming in. That's a lower number than I'd like to see. Please ignore all the flashing skulls as the death wave is cleared out. Hopefully we don't lose too much population. I don't think it'll be too bad. So we're going to taxi right on past the hangars here. Some pretty planes over there. This would be great for custom assets. Put some realistic paint jobs on some of these planes and you have... I don't know if anybody would be able to tell the difference on some of these scenes. Alright, so that's really cool. I always loved looking at these trucks. They have the scissors on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that or not. Oh, too late. That is really cool. That's some nice animation right there. I always loved watching things at airports. I had my aunt worked for Eastern Airlines up until, I think, the early 90s, late 80s. I think it was the late 80s. Might have been the early 90s. I can't remember. I think it was the early 90s when they folded. And it was just really, really cool because we get to go to the airport. I spent a lot of time at Cleveland Hopkins. Probably not the fanciest airport in the world, especially by today's standards, but it was still fun. I always loved going to the airport. It was just really cool to explore the building and watch the planes. Oh, yes, and I definitely want to make sure we see this plane animation. So 144 out of 200 are taken off in this jet plane here. So let's watch this happen because this is going to be fun. I guarantee it. Oops. There we go. And I'll check on the chat over here. The double jetway is more popular in Europe. Now it's funny because I don't remember seeing that when I went to Europe. I don't know if it's because... Oh, that's weird. I wasn't expecting it to take a turn like that. Huh. Interesting. Now when I was in Europe, I only flew into Charles de Gaulle and out of Dublin on a big plane. On a smaller plane, I came out of Bristol over to Dublin. Bristol was actually, I was really surprised. I think, actually, if I remember right, even Dublin had a seriously small, it seems small time compared to anything I've ever experienced in the U.S. They always have jetways. Any airport I've been to, even in Oklahoma City back in the day when I flew in and out of there like 20 years ago, that was a really small airport at the time. Ooh, I made level 3, so that worked. But it still didn't have, it still had jetways. I think the only airport I've really seen in the U.S. that doesn't have jetways, here we go. It really climbs fast. And then once it hits the end of the map, then it's done. So bummer I didn't get to actually show you more of that, but I can't even find the plane now. Should have put a mod in for that. I don't think I can even see the plane. Well, anyway, the only place I've ever flown in the U.S., you know, commercially, where I didn't have a jetway to connect to the planes was Key West. And that is a really, really small airport. I mean, I don't even know how many flights they get in a day, but you can probably count it on your hand. Well, let's put it this way. I think they had one conveyor belt for baggage claim. It was really, really small. So maybe 2 conveyor belts. It was really small. Oklahoma City, when I flew into it, wasn't much bigger. It was bigger, but it felt like a real airport, but it still was very small. Now I'm sure that they have expanded that airport immensely since I was there 20 years ago, because that city's really grown. So anyway, yeah, so that's what we've got. Now level 3, let's see what kind of goodies we have with level 3. We have not to worry about attractiveness scores and whatnot there. We don't have any new policies here. Whoops, I keep wanting to go to parks. So let's see what kind of terminal buildings we've got. It looks like we've got everything unlocked. I don't think that we had anything that was hidden from us from before. Now we can do cargo airports. Now that's a fun one. And I sort of think we need another terminal for that. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work. Let's see if air cargo, if they have a terminal for that. Oh, they do have a cargo airport terminal. Now we've got a rail line over here. And we've got a little highway access. What could we do here? I think that we need to make this airport a little bit bigger. So let's start with that. Oh, I'm out of soil. I'm going to be out of soil in a hurry here. Again. Oh, well, this isn't too bad. Oh my. I can do that? I just buried that rail line. Oh, I almost buried that rail line. Interesting. That might come in handy as a little hack. I guess I'll see. Oopsies. Alright, let's see if we can add cargo over here. So we have a cargo terminal, cargo stand, a cargo airport road, large cargo airport road. Now, I don't know anything about this. Ooh, a cargo airport cargo train station. Okay, now that's something I'm really interested in. So that has to be part of my airport, though. Ooh, I'm gonna have to place that roadside too. Interesting. All right, so I probably need another interchange right here, but I am probably not going to build that. Maybe we should put it over here or over here. Well, I should have planned that a little bit better, but we're just playing around, so. Okay, I'm just going to sandwich it in right over here. We're going to put another terminal in. And we could even put another runway in if we wanted to. How's Tricks? The airport in Bozeman, Montana, at least the last time I was there about 20 years ago or so, had 2 gates. Yeah, all wood beams. Now that would be cool. Bozeman, I have not been to Bozeman. I've been really close. It's really close to Yellowstone National Park. And That would be a cool airport to check out, because I'm sure their architecture has got to be interesting if they use any of the local pine in building it. They really have big trees. Large terminal. Okay, just making sure. Oh, hey, thanks so much for dropping by, Stephen Doherty. Really appreciate it. The metro is connected, isn't it? Yeah, it's connected. Whoops. Let me make sure that... Let's see how many... Okay, 19 out of 500. That's not very many. But we are getting some traffic out of that. I don't know how many we're getting on our buses. Not very many. I know I personally care much more about the metro than the buses. Whew, wow. Maybe that's why they don't build rail connections out to airports in real life. Just kidding. Okay, so let's see what we can do here with this cargo. First, we need a cargo terminal. And I'm going to try to build that right here, and hopefully it will be in a good spot. Okay, so that's the railroad. This is okay. Let's redo this here. Because that is backwards from the way I want it to point. Okay, a large airport cargo road. Wow, I'm really a little mystified. Where do the planes go? Oh. Oh my. Now, cargo airports is one thing I have not really studied, if you haven't already noticed. Yeah, let's start over here. Actually, I don't need to demolish that. I just need to move it, right? Duh. Okay. Put that right there. That one goes there. That one goes there. Now, one of the things I've always had a problem with in this game, just because I don't like it's not very realistic in my mind, is we have a lot of... Oops, I need to go to cargo again. We get a lot of just weird stuff when it comes to what will take off and land at an airport. They do not usually ship heavy things by plane. And there's a really good reason for that. Because then you really have problems with the... you have problems with weight taking off the plane that's loaded with things like iron ore or lumber. So, not really a fan of how that tends to work out. Okay, now that's not going to work at all. It's in the corner. Okay, so... Whoops, keep doing that. Let's see about a cargo train station now. How does this train station connect here? Okay, so I just need to connect it. Alright, so this is going to be really ugly. I apologize in advance here. Let's go to trains and connect that up. Ooh, no. Connect it up like this. Yeah, that's not even really a connection, is it? Oh, I guess it is. Yeah, real life, that would not work. But, you know, what are you going to do? Okay, let's put some taxiways in here. I need taxiways. Okay. Okay. So these guys are going to want to go over here to take off. Ooh, that's going to have some crossing traffic. That's not good. Well, what are you going to do? Let's put a taxiway in on the other side here. Going the opposite direction. Uh-oh. Oh, good. Well, I guess I got away with that one. Okay, so they can taxi on this side. Oh, yeah, I need to connect this up. Okay, now let's get some electricity and... Oh, yeah, I gotta fix that. I gotta make sure that this power works. Let's get our decorative planes. Parked cargo plane. We'll park a cargo plane right there. And right there. And right there. And hopefully that will connect everything electrically. Yes, it does. Ooh, this is convenient right here. That's good. So we have electricity. I need to park a plane over there, it looks like. And that should take care of most of the water. Alright, that's good. And finally, let's get a road connected over here, because we need a road to get to the cargo airport. That is going to be tricky, isn't it? So I don't really have room for an interchange there. And it's kind of far over here, but I think I might be able to thread it. Yeah, let's do that. We'll go right over here and then back down. Now, if you've ever been to the cargo side of an airport, a lot of times they are not as pretty as the passenger side. So I'm certainly not feeling that bad about that part. As far as realism goes, okay, there we go. And now just back down. Turn off my angle. Oh, I know what, I need that now. That'll do. Okay, now it's all connected. Ooh, well, now let's see if we can find some cargo planes. A lot of people heading out. Not so many people heading in, and probably because I'm not a very big tourist town. But 3 stars is the top limit for airports. You know, I don't really know about the runway capacity. G Plus asked that, I'm going to call you that for short. Oh, they have a separate jetway for business and first class. Okay, now that makes more sense. Thanks for pointing that out, Osama Jawaz. I probably, because I'm in Cleveland, and I fly on little planes from Cleveland a lot. I've never seen that before. I don't fly international too much. I'd imagine international flights that are longer probably see a lot more of that. They might not do rail connections much in real life in the States or consider them an afterthought as in Port Authority's latest video on an overhaul. Yeah, you know, it's probably very likely that... ooh, yeah, that's not in the airport. Let me fix that really quick. I need to go to the airport areas here. There we go. I would think that in the States they probably don't... do too much rail to air connection in general as far as like cargo goes. Probably just because we truck so much in the US. I know that as far as rail to air for passengers, yeah, that's a really sore spot with me. I mean, in Cleveland I can go from the airport to downtown, no problem, on rail. I cannot do that in Los Angeles, and I don't even know if I can do it in New York without having a bunch of transfers. I think, I don't think that the airports are super far away, Kennedy or LaGuardia, and LAX it's a little further out, but it's not that far in Los Angeles. It's just, you know, crazy to me that those cities do not have airport connections. Chicago has excellent rail service between, well, I mean, it's got connections, let's put it that way. It's excellent for American standards to connect with O'Hare and Midway both. I think they both have rail connections straight out of the loop downtown. Just, you know, the two biggest cities in the United States don't have them. The bass music be silenced. We all play this game and eventually you all silence the music. Well, yeah. I just thought it would be better than just listening to me breathe. Let's see here. Yeah, I would love to use Anarchy. Ooh, let's just do an air bridge of ore hauling Antonov AN-225s. Now, I have a colleague who he actually got to photograph one up close in Australia. I think even from the air. Did some really cool things with that. I'm not sure if it was it was one of the largest planes on the planet. I'm not sure which Antonov it was off the top of my head. Now, why are there two planes going out at the same time? Maybe I do need more than one runway. Hard to say. Metro is not that busy. I still haven't seen any trains come through here. Or trucks. Oh, there's a car. No, those are parked. I don't know what's going on with this cargo airport. Yeah, anyway. It's really cool. So let's see here. Seems like cargo ship ports always do the same. Airports generate a massive amount of trash. Very true. Yes, I suppose in real life that is true with all the people coming and going. Oh, man. Yeah, they still have a little bit of a glitchy airport AI here. Because that is a plane on top of a plane. Hey, at least it's full. One of them is. What is up with this? Can I select both of them? Yeah. Yeah. And this is not something that would actually happen in real life. I think that plane is that done taking off? No, it landed too. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, they don't usually let planes do that in real life. Usually it's one plane at a time on the runway. Every once in a while you might see one sitting down here waiting to take off while one lands. And that is really cool when it happens. You're just sitting there and then woof, right over your head. It's really pretty cool. But yeah, you don't really have multiple planes in the runway at the same time. So yeah, you know, I'm sure it's a lot harder to code that than we even realize. Let's watch this one go out again. See what else we have in the chat. The title mistakes. will be made. Is that a reference to the book Mistakes Were Made But Not By Me? No, it's not. I'm just saying mistakes will be made because look at the ugliness of these runways, the taxiways, I should say. Let's see here. Can taxiways go underground, or would that need anarchy? That's a good question. I know in real life, I don't know if they go underground so much. They go over top of like highways and stuff, like Sepulveda Boulevard does. I think it's Sepulveda. It's one of those roads. There's this road that runs under LAX. I know that. There used to be one in Denver. I think I-70 used to run underneath runways or taxiways at Stapleton back when that was still an airport. But Denver International was built, and they don't have to do that anymore. Can you lose stars from your airport like universities? I don't think so. I think it's more like parks where you can take away everything and you don't lose stars. How about a name for your new airline? Oh, hey, I forgot. I have to start an airline here. I'll watch this plane take off here. I live in San Antonio, over 1.5 million people, Jennifer Peterson says, and we have no light rail system of any kind. You can catch a bus to the airport, but it's not convenient at all. Yes, that's because you live in Texas, where they hate public transportation for some reason. I don't quite understand why. Texas really desperately needs public transportation. I've not been to San Antonio, but I've seen enough. Yeah, it's a bummer, because the traffic there is just so oppressive. Let's see here. It was an FAA policy that passenger fees could only be used to construct airport facilities exclusively and not be spent on wider city infrastructure to the airport. Yes, Matthew Keenan, you are correct. That is why you have dumb people mover things that connect transit stations to airports. I suppose there was probably some abuse of that, but I'd imagine that there's probably some inspiration on the part of the auto industry that may have made it so that people go rent a car to get where they're going to go after they land in the United States. Lobbying for the win. So, yeah, I think they've changed that policy recently so that they can actually invest in connecting to transit again. Of course, it's rather narrow, but I mean, it's kind of silly when you really get down to it. It's like, why does the federal government prefer airports and hate public transportation so much that it won't fund it? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. DC airports all have some sort of rail connection. Reagan has Metro. BWI has an Amtrak Maryland commuter rail station. How is the quality of that Amtrak line? I'm curious. And then light rail to Baltimore and Dulles has a metro connection under construction. Yeah, Dulles is probably the busiest of the bunch in that trio there, and it is way outside of town. So that's kind of important to get Dulles connected. Baltimore is better for this is beyond how Baltimore is better for this is beyond me, probably because the airport itself is built on an old rail right of way. That might have something to do with it. I know that has something to do with why Hopkins in Cleveland has it, because that's where they ran the Red Line Rapid when they built that back in the 70s or the 60s. I forget exactly. It is next to rail right of way. But that's not really an excuse for a lot of other airports. I don't get it, it's kind of weird. I don't think taxiways in CS can go underground. No. I don't think that's probably a very realistic thing to have them go underground. If somebody's got knows of an airport where they taxi underground, I would really love to see the link in the comments. Or you can find me on Discord. That would be fun. Because that's just wild. All right, so let's see if we can start an airline here. I know that's a thing we can do. Ooh, and we have airport train stations. That might be an interesting thing to set up. I could do an ugly setup with that. Well, let's just see what happens. I don't think it's going to be very busy. And this city is really not planned with rail in mind, not passenger rail. Oh, and that's at surface level. Oh, it's a good thing I have a bridge right there. Yeah, I'm really bummed that the metro doesn't run underground as well as overground. So hopefully somebody will create an asset that allows that to happen, because I know I sure would like it. Okay, so there's a rail connection. I guess we'll find out if this gets used. allow intercity trains. Yes, because why not? I don't think this city has any passenger rail. So it is a very American city because most American cities don't have much in the way of passenger rail. If you wanted to catch Amtrak in Cleveland, you have to get up in the middle of the night. I am not even kidding. They have trains that run between, I think, Chicago and D.C. and Chicago and New York City, but they all come in the middle of the night. So they're red eyes, I think, unless they take more than a day, which I know Europeans are probably flipping out right now because, and rightly so, because yes, that's how pathetic our rail system is in the U.S. It's bad. Why do they not stack airplanes stack on top like that in real life? Wouldn't that not be much more efficient use of runway capacity? Might have gone wrong in Tenerife before, but give it another try, maybe. Thank you for that. Toronto has a really great rail connection to downtown, but it only runs for a few hours during the day. Yeah, that's a real bummer. Why is it Canada? Canada gets so many things right, and then they stop just short. Silly. Yes, turn and profit. Yes, I like that too. It is really cool to see what people know. Like, you know, I feel like I'm full of useless information, and somehow this makes it so that it is useful. And then some of it is wrong or just slightly off, and I like how people make sure I'm right. It's a good thing. Keep them coming, guys. Philadelphia has direct rail access from Center City to the airport. Yes, I know. I realize Philadelphia does not call it downtown. It's Center City. That's probably because Philadelphia was founded before New York City, where downtown originated. Or at least it was bigger before New York City. Downtown kind of caught on across the country. Philly has direct rail access from Center City to the airport, but then you have the unfortunate circumstances of flying into Philly. I don't know a whole lot about that. I've never been to Philadelphia. It's one of the cities I really like to get to. Cincinnati. Yeah, I'm not surprised Cincinnati gets treated like a redheaded stepchild, too. Us poor souls in the Midwest that aren't Chicago. Taking a train from Munich to Germany really made me envious as an American. Yes. Yeah, okay, so get this. Cleveland and Chicago. And Chicago's a nice city. I really like to go to Chicago. New York is a little further than Chicago, but Cleveland to New York is about 300 miles, if I remember right. It's a little more than that to the East Coast. But the distance between Paris and London is also about 300 miles. And when I took there's a cargo train. When I took the Eurostar from Paris to London, I left from the middle of town. Oh, it's just coming in. So now we're going to send some planes out. Oh, there's a plane right there. Ooh, it is not hardly loaded. That can't be profitable. And that one is going to take off backwards. That's actually fairly realistic. Anyway, so the Eurostar got me there. It's about a 5-hour drive to Chicago. If I took Amtrak, I'm sure it would take me like 10 hours or something stupid like that. From Cleveland to Chicago in the middle of the night. Maybe 7, I don't know. It would take me longer than if I drove, I'm sure of that, because the trains are all on freight lines and they're not designed for high speeds, and the freight trains are in the way. So it probably would take at least 7 or 8 hours if I had to guess. I've never checked it out because it's just pointless. It took me 2.5 hours, less than 2.5 hours to go from Paris to London when I was in Europe a few years ago. That is rail service. That is way more convenient than flying, because if you think about it, in the U.S., you want to get to an airport at least an hour early, even if you're in a small airport like Cleveland. Probably 2 hours early if you're going from Chicago, leaving from O'Hare or something. So, because that's a much busier airport, lots more, to deal with this airport security, which don't get me started on that. But the thing is why is it we can't have something like that? That would be so cool. I would love to go to Chicago in 2.5 hours. I would go to Chicago more often. I would go to Cincinnati more often. I could get to Cincinnati in less than 2 hours. The high-speed rail in California is supposed to get from Los Angeles to San Francisco in about 2-3 hours. it would get you to Silicon Valley in like 20 minutes. It's an hour drive now. Or you can take Caltrains, which is, of course, very slow. So, yeah, you get my point. Rail is pretty awful in the U.S. Having Amtrak from D.C. to Chicago, I am utterly not surprised that a Cleveland train would be dead in the middle of the night. Yep. Ohio's just dead in the middle. It's not that dead. We just got an Intel factory in Columbus. Speaking of Texas, Austin has plans to grow its existing commuter rail line with more lines, including an airport connection, which, as a Brit who visited the city over Christmas, it really needs. Yes, it does. That's really cool. Austin is probably the best city to try to do that in Texas. I don't know about the other big metros in that state, but I feel like if Texans really got a good taste of serious public transportation, even if it was just an airport train, it would maybe get some people rethinking, why are we spending billions of dollars on freeways when we could have a train? The airport metro does go underground. Some concourse elements have it built in metro. Yeah, I know the Cleveland, and it's actually heavy rail, not light rail, but the Red Line Rapid station in Cleveland Hopkins Airport actually goes underground a bit to get into the airport. It's at the very bottom level of the airport, which I think is a level below baggage claim. So, just a single train in the night. Is that something like the British parliamentary ghost trains? It might feel like it. Amsterdam Airport's train station is a crucial part of the national railway system. Always fun to hop off for a stroll around the airport with a cup of coffee for 30 minutes and hop back on the train. Davis Design, please check out Penn Station, the history of Penn Station in New York City. It was a fantastic station. They've sort of put some of it back together, but in the 1960s, some very not nice things happened to Penn Station in New York. Go check that out. It's an interesting story, and it will break your heart. And it is sort of indicative of how the U.S. felt about passenger transportation by rail. Planes sort of upset that. It is a big country, but boy, in the east of the Mississippi, we could still use trains. Let's see if we can get an airline started, and I'll go back to this. So I have no clue how we get the airline started. Let's see if there's a thing I need to build. Find that, and we might be able to figure this out. This is one thing I did not look into. Alright, now is it in here? No. What do I need to do to get to an airline? Anybody got any suggestions? Please at me. The Empire Builder goes from Chicago to Seattle along the northern route and averages 60 to 70 miles per hour, as it is pretty straight, but it is also pretty slow. I've actually driven along next to that on US 2 in Montana. That was probably a fantastic route once you get past Glacier National Park. Actually, just even around Glacier, that is a beautiful area. But going across Montana and North Dakota, you go along the Great Northern Line that I think that follows. And I remember seeing at least one or two Amtrak trains going along that. 60 to 70 miles per hour is like glacier speed, though, as far as trains go, especially when you're going across Montana. There's absolutely nothing between Minnesota or the edge of North Dakota all the way till you get to the mountains, and even then there's still not that much in the mountains, except for there's a lot of cool things to do. Yeah, I know there's somebody has some videos on Penn Station in New York City. Actually, just building Penn Station is a huge feat, and some of those railroad tracks and the tunnels and stuff are still there. But obviously we need some more things. Now, where is the airline stuff? Airline lounge, that's not it. Oh, I wish I knew where this was. I don't want to have to Google this, and I don't want to have to end this. Oh, this is it. Oh, yeah, airline headquarters building. This is what I'm looking for. Yeah. Now I can have an airline. And might as well have an aviation museum. Put that in there. Now, also something else that's very important to have around an airport, but I'm not going to hit you guys with this detail here, is you need a fence to keep people from getting out and running in front of planes. Excuse me. Also, it keeps the animals out. I know that there are other things other types of people that probably like to keep out as well. I kind of wonder whether those people actually exist, but anyway. Fences are good for those people too. I'm not going to build the whole rest of that. Let's figure out how this airline thing works. Under miscellaneous, I got to remember that. Okay. Get some water over there. Quick and dirty. Airline info. Okay. Chirp Air. Nice. Does this, Airly, no, I don't know. Let's go with Chirp Air. We're fine with that. All right, ticket prices. Ooh, wow. Check out all of that. Attractiveness modifier. Now, I'm wondering if... Oh, you can change the skins. Oh, that's cool. We'll call it paper air. Because it looks like a paper airplane, right? Oh, wow. Oh, you can change the paint job on the planes. Hey, that's pretty cool. Let's do something. Let's make it orange. Whoa, a little more bright orange. Yeah. I know that's kind of a weird color scheme, but at least I'll be able to see it. Hey, there's one over right there. How much money are you going to make me? And to say this is another thing that's just going to make it so much easier to make obscene amounts of money in city skylines if this is really profitable. So I've got 116 passengers on my paper air plane right there. Is that another one? Yeah, it is. I got 109 on that one. Whoops. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Oh, I got another one right there. It's taking off. Or maybe it's landing. It's a little one, though. That's pretty sweet. I'm going to get 6,000 in tickets. But I'm spending 21,000 on the airport. So it's probably going to be a loss leader. But it might get more sims to your city. Yes, thank you, Risto. I appreciate that. I wish I'd seen that sooner. But, yeah, I forgot about the miscellaneous tab. So that's an airline right there. Now, I'm sure that there will be fun ways of making that more profitable. But, hey, let's just set up an oil industry in our city, and then we make it infinitely profitable as it is anyway. The Empire Builder 5 times. Now, which one is the Empire Builder, Chris? Remind me. Make sure you at me too so I can see it. Let's see here. Let me switch over to the chat. We'll look at this one last time, and then maybe I'll show you around the city. If you have any questions about the city when I'm catching up with the chat, please let me know. Just some different things. If you have any questions at all, really, about anything, I'll be happy to answer it. Might give me a good idea for a video. Let's see here. So let me make sure I didn't miss too much. Cargo stands aircraft cans can actually connect to any road. The terminal is optional and just separates trucks from other traffic. Interesting. I've seen Istanbul and Qatar. They usually have a separate jetway for business first class. I already read that one. Okay, that's where I was. Maximum amount of runways. I don't think that there is a maximum amount of runways. I could be wrong. I know you can't make the runways cross, which is a bummer because a lot of times they have crossing runways because, not because they use them both at the same time, but just because of wind patterns. It's easier to take off and land, and it's safer. Okay, that's along the northern route from Chicago. Okay. I couldn't remember which one that was. I wasn't sure if that was the one you're referring to or if it was a different one. Let's see here. I think I saw most of these. Yeah, LA is getting a people mover. It's still going to be... It's going to take like 3 or 4 transfers just to get get to LAX and get it into a... It's still going to be better than trying to drive in there on a bus. That is the worst airport. I hate LAX. Man, that airport's awful. It doesn't need to be. It's like a city. I mean, I swear there's probably more people working there than most small cities. And then, more people going in and out of that all day long. And they use ground transportation that has tires on it for all of it. It's really a miserable airport for such a big city. And such a nice city. More legroom, less turbulence. I love it. Thank you, David's Design. That's a great slogan for my airline. More legroom, less turbulence. LaGuardia sucks because you need to bus before train. Yeah, JFK, at least you can theoretically never rail, although you would transfer. Yeah, that's the part that bothers me. It's like, why can't I have a trunk line that goes to an airport? San Francisco has nice rail access if you like the BART. That actually works out pretty well. SFO does. I haven't been to the other airports in the Bay Area, though. I haven't been through Cincinnati's airport either. Been to Cincinnati, but I don't need to fly there. Amsterdam, Chicago gets all the spotlight. Yeah, that's the thing with Chicago is it's like the only city anybody on the coast cares about in the Midwest. It's a bummer because there's a lot of nice cities. Went to Kansas City. I've been through there a few times just driving through, but I have not really stopped there much except for barbecue. If you ever want to taste barbecue, go to Kansas City. Wow. The food is out of this world in that town. And it seems like a nice town anyway. I'd like to spend some time there, but it's mostly just a waypoint as I'm on my way to like Denver or something like that when I'm heading out west. But it is some place I would spend time in if things worked out. When I lived in Heidelberg, I went home on leave once, took municipal bus to train station, train to Frankfurt airport, upstairs, got on a plane, no problem. Yes, I would very much like to try European rail, especially if we could have it here. The understanding of Germans outside Bavaria, you may as well be meaning Munich to Germany. Yeah, it's a little closer for Cleveland. It's about 8 hours from Cleveland to New York City oh, is that by train? 8 hours from Sin City to Chicago isn't too bad. By rail, it's about what I expected. It's probably about 7 or 8 hours for Cleveland then. City Nerd has pretty fun videos on rail versus car versus airplane. It began operation in 2010. Just one line right now, but 3 more. Wow. Oh, please don't suggest that. About the airport security theater on train stations. I really don't want to see that. About a month of public transport everywhere was amazing. Too much incentive in Texas to utilize oil and gasoline. Yeah, that's probably true. Among our conservative politicians, there is no desire to reduce traffic, cars on the road. Yeah, well, they use oil to make asphalt too, so I guess that's probably part of it. Everyone always complains that trains got to make money, but nobody ever mentions that the interstates don't need to make money. Yes, that is very true. There's Stone Relic. Thank you for that. How about rather than fences around the airport, using the space between taxiways more efficiently with high-density commerce, building, business, and or some wind turbines? All right, so there's some issues with that. First off, you don't want anything that attracts birds anywhere near planes. And people tend to have food, which attracts birds. Also, higher buildings also attract birds because birds like to sit on top of things, even fences. So they don't even really build fences too close to taxiways and runways in airports because birds will perch on them and then just watch. Like a bird of prey will just sit there and watch for, like a chipmunk or something, some kind of rodent, squirrel or whatever, and then swoop in and go get it and have dinner. So, yeah, birds are really bad for planes because they tend to do some damage when they get pulled into the jet engines. So, yeah, birds. So you keep anything that looks like a perch and any trees or anything like that, any hiding places for birds, you keep them way away from airports. They're just really, really awful. I've been stuck on an Amtrak train for 4 hours, a walking distance from the station I was going to. Yes, I believe that. Just kills me how little... Yeah, I know. I'm with you, Zachary. Hawk Air. Good. Yeah, that's a good one. Best... Oh, Beast at Everything. Thank you for that. The tracks belong to freight companies, and yeah. No. Yeah, there's no dedicated passenger rail hardly in the U.S. I think maybe the Excella might be the only one in the high-speed rail they're building currently in the Central Valley of California that won't actually go anywhere that really, really needs it, like San Francisco or Los Angeles. That would really change California. Might make some affordable housing opportunities somewhere. Yeah, $50 airplane ticket. Well, you can get it on Southwest Airlines as long as you don't mind all the extra fees. For, that they tack on. But that's still not too bad. Southwest, at least you get what you pay for. You're not going to get nickeled and dimed like you do with the other carriers in the U.S. Aren't nearly all passenger trains using freight lines in the U.S.? Yes, that is correct, Zachary. Yeah, I know, Ryanair. Man, I started rethinking my train idea when I saw how much Ryanair tickets cost to go around Europe. But I wanted to take the train, and I wanted to get there fast. It takes time to get to the airport and in and out of the city center. Check the garbage issue. Well, here. I'll take care of the garbage right now. I'll incinerate it. This is going to make it ugly. Let's put it over here with the cargo. Oh, this is another thing I almost forgot to mention. You really want fire and police out here, because if you don't have it, especially fire, it will burn down. I was playing around with that earlier, and that is exactly what happened. So I'm going to put fire and police right there, and hopefully I have electricity. Yeah, I do. Probably don't have water, though. So, yeah, took care of the... Oh, almost took care of the garbage. Need to get water. There we go. I don't know if that's going to actually solve the problem 100%, but we'll see. Depends on how good the AI has become. Okay, so let's back to the chat here. Passenger trains, freight lines. In Istanbul, we have a huge new airport without metro connection. The line will be open this year, which is 70 kilometers. That's long, and it will be the most speedy metro we have in here. Well, that's good they're making it fast. That is a long trip to get to an airport. Thanks, Liscosity. I really appreciate you coming. I hope you pick this up later. Oh, I wish Page Up was a little more predictable. Also watching while taking work calls. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Redstone Relic. No crossing runways. Crossing runways makes sense when you have different wind patterns. Like if, the winds shift dramatically like they do here in Cleveland, you might need two different runways. I know Chicago tends to have some crossing runways. Where you have pretty stable weather patterns, basically anywhere that's not the Great Lakes, then crossing runways don't really make much sense. They probably tend not to build those as much. I don't know if the technology really requires it like it used to. I'm not really 100% sure on that, though. Let's see here. I think anarchy might work on the runways, Nelson Brown. I'm not really sure. My airplanes take weird routes in the taxiways. Mine have been doing the same thing. They will take longer routes for seemingly no reason, sometimes deleting the taxiway and rebuilding it, but it works, but not always. Have you run into this? Yeah, we've seen it here. I've noticed, especially over here somewhere. I think I saw them take a weird turn. Yeah, hard not to agree about LAX. Salt Lake. Yeah, well, LA is a nice city. I like San Francisco better, personally, but there's still a lot of nice things in LA. Rail transportation just isn't one of them. Salt Lake City Airport was built specifically because of the 2002 Olympics, so it's modern and then it has great connectors to light rail and bus. The new terminal has light rail right in the building. Well, that's cool. I didn't realize that about SLC. Cincinnati's airport is quite reasonable, right off 275, just no transit connections. Yeah, Cincinnati has a sad story too. Look into the Cincinnati subway. There's some interesting stuff about that. They literally built a subway, never laid the tracks, and then they put a water main right through where one of the tracks is supposed to go. So they have half of a subway loop built, a rather large subway loop. It is still there. It could still be used, but you'd have to take a water main out or find another place to put the trains. It's really, really sad. Cleveland almost had a subway. They had part of a subway, and they just never finished building it. And so if you know who Moses, Robert Moses is, who was a big bureaucrat in New York City, he was the villain. If you like public transportation, if you don't like cars, he is a terrible villain in the story of New York City, and he is the reason why there are so many freeways and stuff all through there, parkways and expressways through New York City. Now, Cleveland also had a similar villain. His name was Albert Porter. Interesting story. He basically made everybody think, oh, buses and everything are dirty and awful and full of mean people. Why would I want to take that? And so therefore, they never built the subway in Cleveland. They did eventually build some rail in the 70s to complement some of the remaining streetcars that went out to places like Shaker Heights, which was actually a streetcar community, streetcar suburb. But all the streetcars were pretty much gone by then, and all the rest of them. So RTA had a heavy rail red line built from one side of town to the other. And it's still pretty useful, but it's not as useful as it could be. There's only one stop downtown. It's pretty ridiculous. Let's see here. Somebody said something about KC Airport is so far from the city. Now I don't know where Kansas City's airport is. Probably not along I-70, which is why I don't know where it is. CBD might have a tank connection. Right. More general question. Do you enjoy detailing in your games or not as much as other aspects? I'm more of a nuts and bolts guy. I do like doing some detailing. I actually did a detailing video in the Less Traffic live stream back a while ago where I built, where I showed off a city that I had spent a lot of time detailing. Detailing doesn't make for good videos in my opinion. So I don't know how Overcharged Egg does it, but he obviously has a following. So, and he's obviously very good at what he does. So, I'm more of a nuts and bolts guy. I want to make people's city work. And then it's pretty easy to use the aesthetics to make the city look good on top of it being on top of it working. I think there's barbecue in the KC airport. It's been a while though. Yeah, I don't know. If you can go to Joe's. Unless somebody from KC says so someplace better. I would trust anybody from KC who may have a higher opinion of somewhere else. I tried Slaps last time. We went through there this past summer. Well, actually, it was the fall. Went through in the fall and went to Slaps Barbecue. It was very good. But probably not quite as good as Joe's at the 47th and Mission location. It's the sort of thing where there's a big restaurant in town that had a sort of satellite location in the terminal. Yeah, there's probably some of that. I would imagine there's probably a lot of that in KC. I've never flown through KC, though. It's not a hub airport. Kind of would make sense for it that it would be, but there's really not a lot of air traffic going through there, probably because Denver and then Chicago and Minneapolis. Oh yeah, Brightline in Florida. I forgot. Brightline actually looks promising. It's still not going to be very high speed by European standards, though. As for Canada, is it not the benchmark for the U.S. to at least still not be as bad as them? No, there's a lot of things the U.S. is worse than on Canada. Healthcare, for example. Airports DLC really needs crash fire trucks. Yeah, you know what? We need some fire trucks on our... Yeah, that's a great disaster. Good point. How did they miss that one? I wonder if there's an airplane disaster. I have the natural disasters DLC in here. Let's see if we can cause a disaster. I don't remember how to do that. It has been a long time. I have barely ever messed with the natural disasters DLC. And I don't have any of that in this city. Where did that go? I don't have any shelters, so that's not going to make any difference. Boy, I can't remember where that is. I'm sure one of you will remind me in a minute. The train terminal is inaccessible to police because it's behind the... Oh, yeah. Yeah, I believe that. That's kind of the way U.S. airports are. But I think the police are able to go on the other side of the security, I'd imagine. Because they would have to do the arresting if TSA actually flagged somebody that needed arresting or needed investigating beyond what they usually do. But you can always have two runways in an L pattern. Yeah, you're right about that, Maxime Patterson. I'm quite aware of the Cincinnati subway. The funds disappeared. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's true. I bet they did. Yeah, I forgot about that. To build I-75, they demolished 2 above-ground stations. What a shame. Hey Lee, I just saw you were live. Will the stream remain to be watched later? Yes, I'm gonna have it. You'll have to check out on the on my channel page. I won't have it listed because the algorithm will absolutely bludgeon me and mess me up pretty bad if I leave it on there as a regular video. Because when I did live streams in the past, it had. Now, hopefully I'm wrong. If I am, hey, leave me a comment and tell me how I'm wrong. Send me to a video or something to set me straight, because I'd really like to find out that they changed that, because it really makes it difficult to do any sort of podcasting style thing, which I'd be kind of into, but not on YouTube. YouTube is the bad place. I've thought about doing Twitch. If you're interested in Twitch live streaming, I might be game for that. So let me know in the comments if that's something you're interested in. Yeah, redlining, bad stuff. Robert Moses, that's true, Jennifer. Turn and Profit. Read the book about Robert Moses, the power broker. What a tome of a book, but great read. Isn't there also some other downside to Cincinnati, as in that it is situated in Ohio? It's the northernmost city in Kentucky, I know that. Detailing can be therapeutic. It actually makes this game looks fantastic when you start detailing it, especially if you like, wall-to-wall commercial buildings and residential buildings. It really looks great. I don't know if I'm as good at it as some people are, but I'm pretty proud of the work I've done. I'd like to do more of that, but it's just very painstaking work, and honestly, it's hard to get to the lower density areas and do that. Few Candy is big into detailing, and her channel is getting lots of views. I think I saw one of her videos pop up. I didn't know that was a girl. I'll have to check her out. There's not nearly as many women in City Skylines as I'd love to see. So I'm always happy to check that out. I think Joy Build Cities is the only one I knew of until recently. Until just now. I really don't like design of the new airport and bus station. It seems unrealistic to me. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of it 100% myself. I think it's a little overkill. Disasters are under landscaping. You know, I was thinking of looking there, but why would I do that? Okay, are there any? No plane crashes. I'm really bummed. They should have added plane crashes. How in the world can you not have a plane crash? That just seems wrong. Thank you, Risto. I appreciate that. We'll have a disaster at the end of this. I'll save first. 3 stations got demolished. That's even worse. That's worse than 2. Yeah. Nice. Redstone relic. Seeing someone get arrested in the airport in New York. Robert Moses, and now I shall part the sea. Bulldozes someone's house. Yeah, you know what's crazy is he actually wanted to build something. I think it was 11th Street. He wanted to build a freeway right down to the middle of that. It would have demolished like a whole city block in order to build it. And it would have been like 11 stories high. Maybe that's the 11 that I'm trying to remember. I don't know. The thing would have been ridiculously high to get through there. It would have been awful. It would have made it really easy to go across Manhattan, but I'm sure nobody would have wanted to be anywhere near that freeway. There's some crazy stuff Robert Moses wanted to do. He didn't build half the stuff that he wanted to build. And he built a lot of stuff. Every time, induced demand. Robert Moses is the person who taught us about induced demand. And if you don't know what that is, look that up. It's really good. Actually, you can watch More Money, Less Traffic Series 1, Part 5, and see some induced demand. Actually, I can show you where that is because we're in that city right now. If we go over here, you'll notice I have a partial interchange, and one of the legs of the interchange is not. The legs of the interchange do not extend downtown. Originally they did, and this was a terrible traffic jam as a result of that. So we fixed that. Now we've got a lot of low quality jobs abandoned through here, but that's probably because our population has dropped and we don't have, excuse me, we don't have any more room for them to come into. At least the death wave is passed, so that's a bonus. But yeah, check out Part 5 of my first More Money, Less Traffic series, and you'll get to see me work with that. Well, I found out the Redstone Relic is... Yes, I know. I am aware that Kentucky does not include Cincinnati. It just includes part of the metro. And so does Indiana. But it's kind of our joke up here. Also, Skyline chili is kind of weird. That's another thing that you can use to get a Cincinnatian's goat. Oh, yeah, and I put ketchup on my hot dogs, just in case anybody from Chicago was listening. Yeah, the Cincinnati airport is actually located in Kentucky. That is very true. CVG is for Covington, not CIN like Cincinnati. Hawk Falcon, hey, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you here on the live stream. Have you checked out the new tree upgrading thingamabob for... Oh, that's another thing we can do. Twitch is fine, but VOD stay up only a few weeks. It would be cool if you could save. You know what? I do have VODs on my Patreon. So that's another place you can always find that, and it's only $1 a month. So you can binge a whole bunch of them, and it only costs you $1. Let's see here. We'll put it in lesser of two state. Yeah, you know, I think I'm okay with Ohio not having the airport. Hugo Basler Garrido. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. I'm sure I'm butchering it. It's Lee. Raid Kitty. I don't know her either. Thanks for pointing that out, Nelson Brown. Let's see here. Formula Chris 085. Big Mood Energy and her Washburn set of videos have always been a good storytelling series. Interesting. Is it along the lines, this is the Formula Chris 085. Is it along the lines of Do Not Eat, or is it a different kind of storytelling? I do like the storytelling aspect of this. I haven't gotten into that, and I'll have to do that more with Reddington, which is coming. It will be back. The way Sims drive in this game, this should be clear. Car, yeah, I agree. Car accidents should be pretty bad. Redstone Relic, induced demand. If you build it, they will come. It is very true. Brian Kosmowski, Cincy style chili is amazing, says somebody from Cincinnati. No, I don't mind it, but that's not. Cincinnati is a very special place because of the chili and the people who love it. I'm from the Chicagoland area, and I put ketchup on my hot dog sometimes. Turn and profit. You are the first Chicagoan to not absolutely hit the roof when I mention ketchup on a hot dog. We do it all the time in Cleveland. In fact, if you go to downtown Cleveland, go to a hot dog stand and get a hot dog there. Sauerkraut and ketchup are very nice on hot dogs. Content Genesis. Yes, very, very true. And you can actually get that. They call them Polish boys in downtown Cleveland. So if you're ever in Cleveland, I used to think that this was a hot dog stands everywhere in the country, but I don't know if it might just be Cleveland or it might just be certain Midwestern cities. But because of the Polish and population, it's not the kind of sauerkraut that Germans make, which I actually kind of like better. It's more of a watered down, it's less vinegary. The Polish version is, but it's still really, really good on a fresh hot dog. On a hot dog stand in downtown Cleveland. I can't resist every time I go down there. If they're still there. I haven't been down there since the pandemic started. I don't remember. There's not that many people working down there. Those guys might be on hard times. You already have an underground metro station in your airport. Do I really? Similar to do not eat stuff. In fact, do not eat. Really? Ooh, well, I have to check that out then. Thanks for pointing that out, Formula Chris. Do Not Eat is very entertaining to watch. I especially love when he explains the difference between privateers, pirates, and smugglers. That is really, really cool. Oh, I nailed the pronunciation, but I'm from Milwaukee. Oh, you're from Milwaukee. Oh, because Kosmowski is easy for me. It's the other one. It was more Latin sounding. I'm from Cleveland. We have lots and lots of Polish descendants here in Cleveland, so I'm good at saying Polish names most of the time. Brian Kosmowski. Yes, it must be nice to hear somebody from the Midwest say your name. We have real chili here, and it's Cincy style. I did not realize that was anywhere outside of Cincinnati. Interesting. Well, the Cincinnati and the Milwaukee chili, the Cincy style chili, they'll have to compare and see which one's better. Basically outlines how various forms of public transit developed across America. Oh, I'm really going to dig that. That sounds great. I'm actually working on doing... Okay, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I think I've shared this with City Planner. Here's my idea for Reddington. If anybody who's been watching the Reddington series has been watching this, I think you're going to dig this. So my whole plan with Reddington is to build up a Southern-style city and basically give it a history so that basically what we have is a realistic-ish. I mean, I'm from the north. I haven't spent a lot of time down south, but I've done enough that I've gotten the idea of how a lot of, southern style cities sort of, especially around Appalachia, how they've developed. So I'm going to do that. It's going to be very car heavy at first. Well, actually at first it probably won't be that car heavy, but it will become car heavy, especially as the city grows a little bit. But then I'm going to take a left turn. And I'm going to try as best I can in City Skylines to do some Dutch-style urban planning. And by that I mean bicycles, I mean separated infrastructure for, I'm gonna do the best I can, considering it is going to be an American-style city, so there's going to be a lot of gridded streets and things like that. But we're going to try to make that work. By the way, Cincinnati-style chili is Cincinnati thing. The rest of Ohio really wonders what they're thinking down there. I don't know if it's like that in the rest of the Midwest, but I know in Ohio we like to joke about it. But we like Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a nice town. And some of us really like the chili. I know I have some friends, they love that stuff. Let's see here. Basically outlines. Okay, I read that one. Somehow I missed you. Got Patreon up and running. Oh, yes, I did. And there should be some more Money Less Traffic 2 videos. So that's why I'm excited about Reddington. I really am not going to forget about that project that's coming. Let's see here. Yeah, I haven't seen all of the Franklin series. I've seen most of it. I ran out of steam at one point. Got distracted with other things. I have to go back and finish that. Yeah, he hasn't reviewed Workers and Resources, and it's been a few years. I will be reviewing that probably before Do Not Eat does. It's the river water, Lee. That's what makes us crazy. See, I drink from Lake Erie. So whatever it is that you've dumped in the water over there in Milwaukee and Chicago and Duluth and all those places, and well, not Madison, I don't think, but all those cities, in Detroit, I'm drinking that. And so we're crazy in Cleveland too, but not Cincinnati chili crazy. Anyway, so what was I going to do? Oh, we were going to check out the streets. Hey, I've got a street right here. This is the nice boulevard right here. Let's find a nice boulevard. That's a nice boulevard too. Not quite exactly what I want. Maybe one over here? Nah, not that one. Yeah, this one. This one's perfect. Central, I think. That's not Central. I forget what I called that one. Maybe it's Main. Yeah, it's Main Street. All right, we're going to see about relining Main Street. Okay. So, how does this content creator trees? So let's find... Let's see what... Oh wait, that's not right. I know I saw how to do this somewhere. Ah, yes. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to put some blooming trees right down Main Street. Well, that's pretty good. I didn't even move the camera. Now, of course, the leaves on that model do not show up very easily. Now this is really great because it is going to definitely make it easier to create a sense of place when you can make these trees look different like this. I mean, you could have a whole other tree scheme for each neighborhood. So let's try another one. I don't want to use palms. That's not really the kind of city. Now, pine tree. That would be kind of weird, I think, too. And that tree's probably not the most realistic either, but yeah, maybe we should try palms. A linden. That is a tree I know I would see in North America. Let's put that one down this street right here. Well, that's kind of nice. We'll go up to University Park here. And then let's put the wild hedge down here. Okay, now that's kind of wild. And what's this one? Tall grass cluster. We actually have a lot of these. Not by themselves, but we do end up using those a lot here in Ohio. That's one of the things I would really love to see is to mix and match. And I'm sure these trees, since these are, I believe, from Mr. Mason, or Maison, not sure if he uses the French pronunciation or not. And I'm not even sure if my French pronunciation is good enough for that. But I am sure these tree models look 1,000 times better. Yeah. These look so much better than the vanilla trees. I mean, look at the difference. It's not even close. Those are just awful. But this is what happens. Oh, live oak. That's beautiful. I've seen southern cities. Okay, now I'm going to use that in Reddington. The oak trees look incredible in the south. I've always thought those were really great. It's a very unique look that you get. I don't know if I might be too far north for that. I have to research that a little bit, but maybe I'll do it just because I like the look of it. Rentington's not perfectly realistic. It's just sort of realistic. I'm mostly looking for a realism with the roads there. That is so nice. I love those live oaks. I kind of wish that they were a little smaller, but at the same time, these would actually be good on streets where you want traffic to be slower in real life. Excuse me. If you follow the strong towns at all, you'll know that you want to design your streets for the speed that you want the cars to go, not design the streets for humongous amounts of car safety and then expect people to follow the signs that you post for a speed limit. Hey, wow, they've really fancied up the garbage trucks too. That's great. Now, if we could only get rid of, I don't know. I'm not into the bug spray van. Excuse me. Spanish moss covered trees. Yes. Yeah. I used to go to Florida a lot and saw that quite a bit. So, let's see what else we got here. Looking forward to Franklin. Joe Plains, Chicagoland. No ketchup on hot dogs in Chicago. Check your ultra-modern concourse hub for the metro station. Oh, really? Is that where it is? Wow, I'm going to feel really stupid if that's the case. I believe you. I'm just surprised. Oh, no kidding. So you could actually have a metro running through your airport. That is the coolest thing in the world. Thanks for tipping me off about that. That is awesome. Yeah, I wish I had realized that earlier. I would have taken advantage of that. Huh. Wow, that's fantastic. So, keep that in mind. Now, is that just the ultra-modern concourse hub? I imagine it's probably the other ones, too. Let's find out. Airports. Classic concourse hub. Yep, underground metro station. So it is something that we get with all the concourse hubs. That is super duper cool. That is awesome. Yeah, I'd say this is a good DLC, especially if you like airports. I know some people are really into airports. It's the river water. Look, we finally got the Forbidden Tacoma Moneros episode. Anything is possible now. Yeah, I haven't checked his channel. I have to check that out. Chicago has pizza. It's true. Cincinnati has chili, and Cleveland did not have LeBron James. Akron did. Akron also has, well, Cleveland has a lot of things, like Polish boys at all the hot dog stands. I'm not sure that there's restaurants that are really awesome at making some of the things that I know. Oh, okay, that's not true. Pierogies. Pierogies are very much a Cleveland thing, and it's another Eastern Europe type of deal. Yeah. Oh, beer. Cleveland has beer. You've got to try the beer in Cleveland. I think it might give Oregon a run for its money. Actually, anywhere in Ohio a lot of the time, but I love the beer in Cleveland. We have a lot of good breweries here. The bushes and shrubs can be used instead of trees. Also, Cleveland Airport has a NASA research center. Yes, NASA Glenn. I actually used to work there for a short period back in the 90s. Might be fun to add an aerospace research. Yeah. That's true. Boy, there's some great mod ideas out here. Great asset ideas. All concourse hubs have a metro station as well as large terminals. Oh, that's good to know too. Yeah, but you don't start out with any of that. That's the real bummer. So I guess you're supposed to build an airport early on. Let's just throw this in here for kicks and giggles. So that's very similar to the classic. Metro. Yep, there it is. Well, that's really great to know. So you could actually, yeah, I know like London Heathrow has metros, multiple metro stations in it. So, well, underground stations if you're in London. Yes, actually the shrubs would be great for something like in Arizona or a, yeah, good point. Project Content Genesis. Thank you, Hristo Salonen, if I'm saying your name anywhere close to correct. Thank you so much. Turn on Profit. Does anyone know if the new cars come with the airport DLC or are they both separate? I think that one of those is a content creator pack. Yeah, let's check out some of that. That's something I haven't really done. And then I think we might wrap up here. So let's find us a police or fire. Where are those? I know I can do this the easy way. I'm trying to resist. I think there's... Where are they? I know I put them here somewhere. Alright, easy way it is. I put them in between. Okay, so let's see what kind of fire trucks we've got here. I believe that is it. Yeah, select a vehicle. Fire truck, large fire engine, mini fire engine. Well, let's do the big ones. I don't know if we'll get to see a fire or not, but let's see what kind of police we got there. So, police car, mobile command center. Wow, that's scary. And a police supercar. Let's do the supercar. It's a fancy little outlying area here. Maybe we'll get to see a fire. Let's check out the hospital too. Where is the hospital? There's... Oh, I wonder if they did anything with the hearses. It looks like they did. Hearse, coroner's van, luxury hearse. Okay, let's do a coroner's van. I should have had that for when we had the, you know, the death wave. Yeah, that's what it's called. Alright, where's the hospital? Here's the hospital. Ambulance, fly, car, ambulance, large ambulance. Well, that looks very much more American, North American to me. More like what I'm used to seeing in the U.S., so I'll go with a large ambulance there. And you can customize that per building, if I'm not mistaken. Sadly, there do not seem to be very many emergencies going on in this city. The garbage truck. Oh, the garbage trucks. Maybe you can customize those. Let's check that out. Yep. Garbage truck, large garbage truck, small garbage truck. Ooh. Wow. I like the idea of a large garbage truck. I think we need that over here by the airport. Because I've got way too much garbage going on over here. Large garbage truck. No randomness. I don't know why the police haven't bothered to come over there. Maybe it's because it's not actually connected. It has to be connected as a road. Oh, there might not be enough of a road. Let me fix that. This probably needs to go to the center of the building. Yeah, I'm going to do it the sloppy way. So now maybe we'll get to see police. Let's change that. Let's do the mobile command center. See if they call the SWAT team out. Maybe it's already left. There's a couple of vehicles headed over there. I'm going to pause it so I have time to catch up to them. Oh, I think I might be too late. It's probably cargo trucks. Yeah, I wonder if the capacity is really any different between garbage trucks. That's an interesting question I don't know the answer to. Okay, Redstone Relic says the new vehicles come separate with the content creator pack, the vehicles one. I just wish we had better ferries and ships. Yeah, you know what? I agree. If you've seen one of my latest Reddington episodes, we actually I use a river, more barge looking, which I thought was more realistic than having an ocean going ship in Reddington. It didn't really make sense because it's supposed to be pretty far inland. There's no way they're going to run, deep water ships through there. Only the branded Airport Express metros and buses are included with airports. New emergency vehicles and transit vehicles are content creator pack. Thank you, Jim Tagier, for pointing that out. Thank you. Beast at everything. The police need to get on the inside airport road. Yes, they do. The cargo airport road behind the cargo terminal isn't connected to the main road in front of the cargo. Yeah, I think I fixed that. So, oh, hey, what's that? Oh, the mobile command center is going to the fire station. Maybe I can get better light on it over here. That is huge. That will seriously block traffic. I thought it was bad when they just pulled somebody over. So you could have a police headquarters that just sends out SWAT vans. That'd be kind of cool. That would be a somewhat realistic way to doing that. Yeah, barges would be super awesome. Now that they've done airports, maybe they'll do boats. That would be super awesome. Oh yeah, I think ferries comes with mass transit. Ferries are useful on certain maps, but buses sort of sabotage them somehow. I don't understand that. I know there's a policy that you can use to thwart it. It needs to look for rivers and airports. Oh yeah, locks. Locks would be amazing. Yes, I agree. Would love to see locks. Oh, hey, I wonder how many people are leaving the airport. Nobody. Well, that figures. I guess I'm just not that big of a tourist draw. That's not very busy. That's a little busy. That's actually really busy. Huh. So there's people coming in to go to the airport, but nobody going out. Take a look at that. Yeah, it's not a bad little terminal right there. Very interesting. The way they've executed this DLC, it's actually... I'm rather happy with it. Oh, they need to get on the... Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. You're right. I did not change that at all. This is not my finest day when it comes to less ugliness. Okay, so that should allow them to get over there. I thought that if they could get over here, that would be enough. Man, where have these freight terminals been all my life? I wonder if this works when you're not using a cargo road. That's an interesting question. You probably can't use it without an airport area. I imagine there will be an anarchy mod for that at some point. Port areas, yes, similar to an industrial area or airport area. I think that would make a lot of sense, Josh Mickelson. David's design. What do you think these updates to the base game mean for the future of the game and its eventual sequel? I have no idea. I kind of hate speculating on the sequel, and until recently, I really didn't feel like making a big deal about sequels in the first place, but... yeah, I think I've gotten to the point where, yeah, I would agree. It would be great to have a sequel to City Skylines. And I hope that they go with more of a... Like, I like the consistent look and everything that they have of the vanilla buildings. I just don't like the vanilla buildings most of the time, especially the regular growable buildings. Everything just looks too cartoony and futuristic. I know some of them are based off of totally real buildings, but they're not the kind of city that I'm familiar with. So what I would love is if they had just asset sets that you could use. My UPS is complaining, so that's what that beeping sound is, and that's what that warning is right there. I have a very small UPS for a computer that I used to own a long time ago. When I'm running City Skylines, it draws a lot more current. But yeah, I would love to see a City Skylines 2. I hope they make some changes as to how the underlying game kind of works as far as like the engine goes. But I don't know. At the same time, I'm always a little afraid because, like I used to play StarCraft a lot, and then they came up with StarCraft 2. Guess how much I played that? Not much. Didn't help that it came out at a bad time for me to start playing a new game. But the reality is that, I just don't know if it's quite as good as the first one. So there's that. I don't want to see that happen with City Skylines, and I think they can outdo themselves for sure. They've got a lot of room to do it, but it's really hard to do it and code it and also have the manpower for it. But now they've got a hit game. They've got a budget. I hope that they would have an even bigger hit game, but, financial things take over. As long as they make it so it's moddable. I don't know how they're going to do that, because I think this game is built off of the Unity engine. And if they build something that is not based off of the Unity engine, it might perform better. Or maybe if they build it off of a newer Unity engine. I'm not really familiar with Unity enough to talk about it really authoritatively. But if they pick a game engine that is easily modded and scripted and all that stuff, like what we've got with Unity here, with the original City Skylines, I think that they will do really well. If they lock things down, which I think they would be crazy to do, I think that City Skylines 2 will really knock our socks off. I think City Skylines 2 will go the way of SimCity. And somebody else is going to move into the market. So I don't think they want that to happen. I think they know what Maxis did wrong, or Electronic Arts more appropriately. So that's my opinion on that. I'm ready for a City Skylines 2. Chris Cullen, there is the prefer ferries policy. Yes, I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, that is correct. Josh Mickelson, Sunset Harbor is great and all, but a straight up Harbor DLC would be awesome. I agree. I feel like they missed the boat on that when they didn't do that with Sunset Harbor. Joe Plain 7378. After playing Transport Fever 2, I really want modular train stations and ports. Yeah, I would really love to see modular everything in City Skylines, because, the thing that's always bothered me is that I can slap down like a small fire station. And there's other aspects of this that have bugged me, but I could slap down a small fire station. Say my city gets bigger. Why can't I just make this into a bigger fire station, or expand the capacity somehow? And why is it that, I have to have so many of these big, giant fire stations in every neighborhood? It doesn't make sense. It really just doesn't make sense. So those are some thoughts I have on some of these things. Like one of the things in the U.S., and maybe this is a really bad move on the U.S., on the part of the U.S., and I kind of think it probably is, but they've been consolidating hospitals like crazy. We have sprawling medical campuses. I know Cleveland is loaded with healthcare facilities. The Cleveland Clinic is positively huge. And it's not just like, it's basically they've consolidated all the treatment in these major cities at these major health centers. We don't really have small community hospitals in too many places anymore, unless you're really out in the remote area, like Moab, Utah or something like that, where you're hours from a major city, or even something that resembles a city. So, it's just a kind of a thing that's different and probably unique to the U.S. probably. The new cargo station for the airport can be used anywhere in your city. Let's put that to the test. Let's try that out. Airport cargo. Let's try that. That's not the right one. Well, what do you know? That's great. So we have a 2-track cargo station that we can use now with this DLC. This is great. I am interested to see what kind of strategies that we can use with that. That's really cool. Thanks for pointing that out. Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate that. I wish they went for a more historical city styles. Well, yes, I agree with you on Project Content Genesis. That's very, very much the way I feel about it. I've got a few assets like that. Like Modern City Center was a good step in the right direction. At least you get wall-to-wall commercial instead of these weird buildings that are never ever wall-to-wall, but they're really too close together to make sense. These are wall-to-wall. These are custom. I have a lot of custom assets in this city. Yeah, they missed the boat on it. Yes. Chris Cullen, I just want to let you know, he says if CO and Paradox are smart, they'd bring in a lot of modders to help out, maybe hire them as contractors. They have actually done that, like McSergey, who created the node controller, or the nuke node controller, and redid some mods and came up with the network multi-tool that's featured in the very latest episode of Reddington. That guy now works for Colossal Order. At least that's what the word is. And Samantha Woods, who is better known as Ivania on the workshop, she has been brought in, and she works for Colossal Order or Paradox, one of those. So they are bringing in a lot of people. Mr. Mason was used to do some content creator packs, as has Samantha or Ivania. Let's see here. I feel like with City Skylines 2, all it needs is to do is keep the modability, but bake in with the sort of modular framework we got with Industries and Park Life. It'll be the game we need. Yeah, I think that's a step in the right direction. I think being able to expand buildings or something like that would be super cool. I don't feel like that's as important as being able to mod things. I also feel like it would be great if they went with parcels instead of these squares, because then you could have round roads and things would just like fit into the round area or angled area a lot better. So that would be kind of cool, especially if you could monkey with how the parcels are laid out. And you can combine and split them. That would be super cool. But the number one thing that I want to see with City Skylines 2 is performance. I want to see better performance. One thing they did right with SimCity 2013 by making many of the buildings modular, police, schools, fire stations, even the mayor's house. Yeah, I think that was a step in the right direction. I just don't like the idea of it all being always downloadable content. Excuse me. Modular, expandable, poppables. Yes, that's kind of where I got that idea. I didn't come up with that on my own, but it made a lot of sense once I saw it in SimCity. I just wish that game wouldn't have sucked. Need better lots instead of zoning on the roadside. Agree with that. Colin McNamara. Ability to have odd-shaped lots as long as the building fits on it. Yes. And I think if you're into detailing and fitting things into certain areas and things like that, you might like how they do the urban planning in Soviet and Workers in Republic, Soviet Republic. Interesting game. It's definitely challenging. Doing the industrial stuff is what I like doing the best. But the urban planning aspect is really cool. Getting everything to be in walking distance. That game has its shortcomings too. They all do. But it's pretty cool. I definitely find it challenging. On the topic of Transport Fever 2, Joe Plains 7378 says, I also wish City Skylines would allow you to choose what year you start and have assets based on the time period. That might be a lot, though. I liked SimCity 3000 or 4. I think it's the SimCity 4 did that. You had an 1890s style that you could pick, which was great Chicago style, old Chicago style architecture. And then I think it was 1920 style, so early century or turn of the century. Well, not turn of the century, but early to mid-century. And then modern were options in that game. I kind of missed that. I liked having the mixed and matched appropriately because it looked very realistic. I wish interaction with neighboring cities and some politics like in SimCity 3000. Yeah, that would be interesting too. I hope that they have a sandbox mode. I'm sure they will. I think they know their audience pretty well by now. I like the sandbox mode, but it is kind of fun to, if they got a good gameplay, some strategy that they can put into that. Neighborhood themes, neighborhood years models. Yes, agreed. Turn and profit. Phoenix Plays Games. Welcome to the stream. Risto Salonen. Bad Peanut also works for CO as a 3D designer. Okay, great. Bad Peanut, I know he made some stations for them, but that's a guy I really like to see. Boy, I would love to see Bloody Penguin in there too. He made some fantastic mods and did some really great stuff early on with the game a few years back. 80s style houses would be nice. 90s, 50s, 60s, agreed. Yeah, and like, that's kind of hard. I mean, how many different areas of the world do they have to satisfy? That's a lot. Because, you know, Europe has completely different architecture, but even in the US, I know it's completely different if you're in Cleveland versus Detroit or Chicago. We don't build houses in Cleveland like they do in those cities because we never had a fire here. I'm not sure if Detroit did, but I know I've seen mostly masonry buildings, I think, in Detroit. Chicago's almost all masonry. I haven't seen anything wooden in Chicago. Cleveland is almost all wooden. There's hardly any masonry, and it's because we never had a fire. Wipe out all the housing and all the buildings back in the early times where they needed to change laws and force everybody to build with masonry. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of architectural styles that you'd have to deal with there. Enrique Santana, hello Hawkins. You can make multiple terminals, use a classic one for small planes, modern for medium ones, and ultra modern for big ones. Yes, we did that a little bit earlier. That is a really cool aspect. I'm glad they made it mix and match. I'm really glad they made that smart move. Maybe a Japanese town. Yeah, that's another thing. You know, you got the Far East. A completely different style there. Bo Farmer as a Colossal Order. I did not realize that. He is another great creator there that we've benefited a lot from. Giovanni, I've been refreshing your YouTube channel since yesterday. Oh, thanks. Hopefully I'll have some more for you in the next couple weeks. Have you tried Cities XL or Cities XXL, Chris Cullen? No, not yet. I haven't gotten around to that. It's hard for me to get into a new game because when I get into a new game and I like it, I kind of like die to the rest of the world. So Cities Skylines was a big fancy of mine and still is. And then there's Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, which is kind of my new thing right now. And that game's not even finished yet. It's still really good. I'm looking forward to seeing what the finished product looks like. That's going to really be fantastic. Let's see here. Unispad, get some water to some of your neighborhoods. They are dying. Actually, those are just the crematoriums that I don't need anymore. So the neighborhoods are good. What's dying are probably the low-end businesses that don't have enough workers. A part of me wonders how Cities in Motion did it building generation, because though that was a transit game first, that game did a decent job of filling out some weird corners. Interesting, because I think Cities in Motion is actually a Colossal Order game. CS2 has the potential to be a lot better than CS, with newer consoles being more powerful than the last generation. Quite a lot would be available on consoles too. Thanks, Street Racer Sam. Yeah, you know, I think that consoles are better, but also PCs are way better. The thing is Cities Skylines does not run much smoother on a newer PC because it really only uses 3 or 4 cores because of the game engine it's built on. So that's why I would like to see is something that utilizes the cores better, because then you'd have the ability to build some ridiculous cities, especially if you had a lot of memory. CS2, the bus terminal can be attached to a concourse that is not connected to the terminal or main concourse. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. WM, didn't the river in Cleveland catch fire a few times several decades ago? Actually, it caught fire multiple times, and the last time it caught fire in Cleveland was back in the 1960s, and it sort of spurred on a lot of environmental movement in the U.S. It is much cleaner today. It is cleaner than it's been in 100 years. You can actually take a wooden rowboat out there and you'll see lots of rowing going on out there. It used to be really hard to even palate the smell of the river or just downtown, and now you've got people recreating out on that river all the time. It's really There's a lot of parks and stuff down there now too. They've done a lot. Cleveland is not the same city it was when it caught fire. I'll tell you that. So there was a fire, but there were fires, but it was the industrial waste on the river. They used to refine a lot of oil. Almost all of the oil is refined in Cleveland. Fun fact, John Rockefeller started Standard Oil in Cleveland, and he pretty much gobbled up the entire industry and monopolized everything until antitrust actions broke it up into a bunch of little pieces. So, yeah, John Rockefeller is actually buried in Cleveland and Lakeview Cemetery. So, yeah, that's a piece of history. They don't refine any oil in Cleveland anymore, but they used to refine all of it here, and I bet a lot of that was probably what made the Cuyahoga River so awful. But now it's pretty nice. It's not exactly everywhere we want it to be, but there are fish in it, and yeah, so it's made huge strides forward. I think the ability to change zoning codes or to maybe customize how density works in your city would be a really cool addition to cities too. I agree with that. I'm sorry, Bree. Ron Becker, hello from Germany. Hello, Ron Becker from Cleveland. Chris Cullen, Cities XL XXL held me over between SimCity 2013 and when Cities was released. See, I played a lot of SimCity 4, and I didn't even know about City Skylines until it had already been out for a year. One of my friends turned me onto it, and here I am on YouTube. It's weird. Turn and Profit, how do I make a neighborhood self-sufficient in green cities? I think you need to just change the... I think you just need to turn on a building policy, city planning policy on that one. I'll show you right here. So let's pick a neighborhood here. Eastern Heights. I'm not really going to do this because if I did, it would demolish the entire neighborhood. But if you go to city planning and... where is that one? I know it's... no, it's not that. I'm probably blind and looking right past it. No rebuilding, combustion engine, electric cars, automated toll. Huh. Where is that? Oh, you know what? I know what it is. This is where you change it. You go to districts and areas and residential specializations. So you've got self-sufficient buildings right here. So you would just click bam and then it would change it. But we don't want our residential specification. Now when you do that, it's going to wipe out all the residential in that area. So do it a little bit at a time. You might want to start a new area when you do that. So that's how that works, Turn and Profit. We'll be in Bree. Cities in Motion 2 feels like a prototype for City Skylines to me. I think that's kind of what ended up happening. Jesse Veenstra, when can we expect to see your next More Money Less Traffic video? Love your content. Thanks so much, Jesse. I would love to give you a really great time on that. I'm hoping it's going to happen in the next month. I've been saying that for months though. So I won't promise anything, but I will try to get it out as soon as possible because I am really chomping at the bit to get that thing out there. I've got part 7 and part 8. Part 8 is probably about halfway done. Hopefully I can get that done very, very soon, and you'll see it somewhere before the end of February. Part 7 and part 8 both. And then part 9 will be along shortly after too, because I'm working on them as a trilogy. They sort of all have pieces that fit together, and that's why I haven't put part 7 out yet. Because part 7 is mostly done. I need some cinematics done, and I need part 9 to finish it, because it's all part of the story. So I'm doing a little storytelling with More Money Less Traffic part 2. Not as much, but, you know, trying to just keep it real. Let's see here. Turn and Profit. Not going to lie, people in my life so far are under the impression that Cleveland is dirty. Well, that may have been true 30 years ago, 20 years ago, but Cleveland is not dirty. it is, if you go downtown, it's actually quite clean. I haven't been down there a lot lately because of the pandemic. I've been kind of living under a rock out in the burbs where I live, but the city, there's a lot of building going on. If you can imagine, let's put it this way. If you're used to any coastal cities and you like old architecture and a bit of new architecture and you like good food, you like good beer, you got to come to Cleveland if you're in the States. I would probably prioritize other places like New York City or San Francisco if I'm from abroad. But if you really want to get a taste of the Midwest and the Northeast all at the same time, Cleveland's a pretty good way to go. And it's a cheap date. It's a lot less expensive here than it is on the coastal cities or in some place like Chicago for both hotels and for the food and the beer. You'll pay a lot more money. It's just even in Chicago, but especially on the coast, you'll pay a lot more money. But it's got a good food and beer scene. So Cleveland is very different. I would say that of any Midwestern city, I haven't been to any Midwestern city so far. I know Pittsburgh is in Pennsylvania and it's not technically Midwestern, but it's on the western end of west of the spine of the Appalachians. So Pittsburgh's almost Midwest. Even Buffalo is almost Midwest. I've been to Pittsburgh. I've been to Indianapolis, Detroit, Chicago, a lot of places. And Cincinnati, Columbus. I mean, Columbus is actually not really very Rust Belt, but a lot of the Rust Belt cities have had huge rebounds in their downtown areas. A lot of the neighborhoods are starting to perk up or have already perked up. Don't miss those cities just because they're in the Midwest and they used to be industrial and they're supposed to be crime-ridden and filthy. The crime-ridden areas are still there, and they're in every single major American city, and that's not going to change the way things are going. But the tourist areas are not in those parts of town. So, and I would always recommend getting on Reddit and just asking around. If you want to go to a Midwestern city and check it out, I would definitely recommend Cleveland as a destination, especially if you live within half a day's drive. If you're in the Midwest or the Northeast and you want a cheap date, come to Cleveland. We have a good art scene too. Sports are good. Food's good. Might not be quite what you're used to on the coast though. So anyway, that's my plug for Cleveland. I could talk a lot more about Cleveland. I'd like to do some videos about that, both on the history and on, just interesting geographical things about it and architectural things, because I'm kind of into that. So it'd be kind of fun. Let's see here. I want to see if I missed something here. Redstone Relic. The Mill Creek in Cincy was like that, and we're working on cleaning that. Yeah, I bet. I'm sure that's true. Oh, sorry, Hawkins. I've been watching since the beginning, and they live started 2 hours ago. I hope I didn't... Oh, don't worry about that. No worries. I don't mind. I know people are coming and going. It's kind of like an open house party, because it's been like a year since we've done this. Phoenix plays games. You can use realistic population revisited. It has default settings based on real life, so much more people in high density and only one household per residence in low density. Yeah, realistic population revisited. I would highly recommend that mod. Don't use it on an existing city unless you're in for, doing a lot of rework, because you will need it. It will change the economic balance massively. Chris Cullen, look under districts, resident. Thank you. I find using self-sufficient works best for smaller district areas. Yes, I would agree with that. It also takes a beating. Your tax income takes a beating when you do that too. Formula Chris, probably honestly wish more Sim 2 buildings made it into city skylines. Yeah, I know a few did. Some have been turned into assets. 4 hours into this game and I still can't create anything close to this. You know what? Rod Steel 18, I want to point out the simplicity of this city. I actually did this very, very simply, and that's kind of what more money, less traffic is all about. That's the one I want. I want the traffic view here. Get rid of that. Here we go. This city is very simple. It's a grid. It's really almost entirely grids. And all I did was angle it a little bit over here and angle it a little bit more over here. You know, like it's a grid. It's really, really simple. And so grids can actually be really kind of cool. And, you know, you just put a few curves in here and there, throw things off a little bit, and you'll end up with something that looks really cool. You know, like right here, you know, I've got a street that splits. The idea is that this would be maybe a one-way couplet, but I didn't really need it. You know, I've got good public transportation. This is all low density around here for the most part. So yeah, it's just a nice, cool way to have a park right there. And this is really old. I'm sure this is before I had park life. So it's really not that hard. Even if you just start with a grid, and grids make it easy to deal with traffic too, which is what More Money Less Traffic Part 8 is about. So don't feel too bad. My cities, I use a lot of grids, so they looked okay. The other thing that's kind of cool about this map is that it's got some hills on it. I just try to model real life as much as I can. But the hills here on this map are subtle, but they make things look very interesting. This almost reminds me of looking into the loop from the South Loop in Chicago. It's kind of cool because you got a hill and you can see the city contour, the contours of the ground there. So don't feel too much trouble. Mr. Mason, thanks for coming by. You seem cool to hang out in City Skylines with. You have a new subscriber. Hey, thanks. If you're the Mr. Mason who makes all those great assets and whatnot, thank you. In the content creator pack besides. Moonbree, I love using realistic population mods. The one weird thing about using them is that they break the demand a little bit, although you do have to pay more attention to unemployment. Yeah, you can get pretty imbalanced really quick with just one high density building, depending on how big your city is. I'm surprised the Times Square subway station didn't make it as a ploppable station or a landmark. You know what? I really don't understand why there's no... why on earth isn't it that we don't have subways or trains at the bottom of Grand Central? There's a Grand Central station, a Grand Central terminal landmark, but it doesn't have there's no terminal. Like, I really want that to be an asset right there, so would love to see that. Let's see here. Cincinnati is working on its nightlife scene with the Banks project on the edge of the river. It's a wonderful place to spend a night. Redstone Relic. Yes, I want to spend more time in Cincinnati. I have family on the other side of the bridge in Covington. Covington and Newport are pretty nice, especially I think Covington. I haven't spent as much time in Newport. But Cincinnati, I'd really like to spend more time in. It's just, you know, when you're seeing people, it's hard when you're just there for the weekend to spend much time. I did walk across the Roebling Bridge. That is a really beautiful bridge. It's the prototype for the Brooklyn Bridge, if you're wondering what that is. That's a beautiful city. It's hands down. Cincinnati is hands down the most beautiful skyline in Ohio. But you have to go to Kentucky if you really want to get the best view of it, especially if you like the light. There's some other parks in Cincinnati, on the Cincinnati side, on the Ohio side, that are good views too, but you get north light instead of south light, so the buildings aren't lit up as nicely. You get kind of a shadow on them. But Cincinnati's beautiful. Lots of great architecture there. I think they have I forget the name of the building, it's not coming to me right now, but it looks very much like Rockefeller Plaza. If I'm remembering the right building. Really nice neighborhoods in Cincinnati. I've actually spent a little time in the neighborhoods here and there, but not as much time as I'd like downtown or on the riverfront since they've made so many changes. But I can see just from driving under on I-71 that there's some really cool stuff going on down there, and I'd really like to get back. Bree. Turn profit. Chicago is considered a beautiful city, but if you live here, all you see and think about on the news is the south and west sides where murder is normal. Yeah. I think that's true of pretty much any Midwestern city. Oh, I wish I would have set that... Oh, hey, there's one of the big fire trucks right there. That's pretty cool. Now, see, that's what I'm used to in the U.S. We have those big ladder trucks. Those are actually really common. Let's see here. Yeah, Chicago's gorgeous. Downtown and the neighborhoods and stuff like that on the north side. It's, you know, sad that economic prosperity cannot be enjoyed by all. I'd like to see it. This is why I like to build utopias. I don't like to have bad neighborhoods in my cities because I don't want them. I want good neighborhoods everywhere because I don't want anybody to be dealing with slum conditions. I know that's not real life, but that doesn't mean I have to have real life in every aspect in my cities. So I like kind of building somewhat utopic, although not necessarily the easiest traffic for the cars. I like it when people can get where they want to go, and there are a lot of people out in this city, which I love to see. Let's see here. Yeah, a lot of the residential buildings and towers I immediately recognize. Yeah. Enrique Santana, happy to see you back in action. I'm a big fan of your work. Well, thank you so much, Enrique. Redstone Relic. Newport is great, especially with the aquarium. I've been next to the aquarium. I've never been in it. I've always heard great things about it. At some point, we'll just have to make some time and just spend more in Cincinnati once this whole pandemic thing is over. Coming north on 71 from Kentucky through the cut in the hill at night is a beauty. Yes, I'd rather they never built that freeway because I'd rather Cincinnati downtown be all whole, but if you're going to have a freeway run through the middle of the city, at least they're making it look prettier. Look like a nice neighborhood for having a freeway running underneath it. Crude Tower, that's the one I was trying to think of. Thank you, Redstone Relic. You can walk the length of the downtown core and parks along the river. Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh have a lot in common just because the terrain is very similar, although Cincinnati I don't think is quite as dense as Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a nice town, too. I know I probably shouldn't say that I'm from Cleveland. But Pittsburgh really is a nice city. I just don't like their football team. Really, really beautiful parts of town. It's almost like an East Coast city, not on the coast. Really gorgeous bridges through there, too. I like Pittsburgh. I just don't want to drive there. Thankfully, it's very walkable. So, anyway, I think that unless we have anything else that you guys would like to see, we covered the vehicles a bit. We covered the airport. I wonder how I'm doing on ticket sales now. Maybe things are going a little better than they were. 21,000. Yeah, my income is really only half of that. Yeah, you know, that's not bad. That's about twice as much as it was. How much? What if I made the tickets 90 credits? Maybe then I'd make more money. Who knows? But either way, I think that this is a really great primer, and it's a really great opportunity that I've had here to spend time with all of you. I hope I answered your questions. Oh, my grid size in the city. This is a sort of Manhattan-style grid. It is... it's not quite Manhattan-style. Let me think. I want to say it's 10 by 20 in most of it. Yeah, 10 by 20. There's a few spots where I make it a little wider. Like this is 11 by 20 right here, so I can fit parks and stuff in here. Because, you know, in the old-fashioned ways. And then I don't think that I have any narrower blocks anywhere. Now, the grid size might shift a little bit in different neighborhoods. I don't think so, though. And then I've got some squiggly streets over here. Which that was kind of fun to lay out that neighborhood. I put some symmetry into it. Because it's right by the lake. I mean, this is waterfront. That's going to be High Rollerville. I haven't really messed with the waterfronts otherwise on the rivers. And I'm kind of dumping a lot of water. I'd use the Green Cities DLC and just replace all of this stuff. Anyway, so this old game still has some life left in it. Life in it left with this update. Yes, I would agree. And honestly, if you're very interested in refining your creativity and just trying different things, this game is endlessly entertaining because, like, this city's all on a grid. You could just as easily not build a grid, and you'd end up with something that looks probably a lot more like European cities, or even just old American cities, because, you know, like Boston, I don't think all of that is a grid, and I know, yeah, anyway, you get the idea. My Cincy ego has been stroked. I'm glad. Ohio has some nice cities, and I think Cincinnati and Cleveland are pretty fantastic. Columbus feels like a big suburb. It's like the Los Angeles of Ohio. It doesn't have great public transportation either. Although it's nowhere near as big as Los Angeles, it is trying to catch up. It'll take a while, though, because our weather is too cold for Los Angeles-style growth. What do you think about adding real estate investors into CS2 as counterparts for eminent domain or social housing? I don't know. I'm probably too busy playing Workers and Resources Soviet Republic to think about real estate investors. I don't know. I have no idea. I think I'll leave that question to City Planner. Phil can answer you on that one, so you can get his opinion. Let's see here. So this old game has some life in it. Yeah, I've talked about that from Davis Design. Redstone Relic. Oli, if you do come to Cincinnati, the Crew Tower has a hotel in it. Ooh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, you know, I think they're putting residences in the Terminal Tower in Cleveland, too. Last I heard. But I am kind of behind on some of that stuff. I've been paying attention to other things once this pandemic started, because, you know, there's no point in getting too excited about places I can't go right now. I'm excited to watch the stream later. It looks beautiful. Well, thanks, Jordan Hale. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to wrap this up here. This is Lee Hawkins from Demoville. If you haven't already checked out the latest Reddington series, go check that out. It's a good playthrough if you're into playthroughs. Also, we have More Money, Less Traffic, Series 1, which is where this city comes from. I expanded on it quite a bit since then. I think I ended the series at 80,000 sims. It's 5 parts. And then the other, where's my fire? Somebody says I have a fire. Maybe they just hauled the truck out and it's already gone by the time you popped up on here, or I popped up on yours for you to type it to me. Okay, so we've got More Money, Less Traffic Series 1, More Money, Less Traffic Series 2, which is shorter, bite-sized chunks, good tutorial on the game, and we're going to be covering some really cool traffic concepts. The city will be getting much bigger in Part 8. Part 7 will be getting a little bigger too. We're going to grow some serious industrial base, and after Part 9, we're going to really get into some fun stuff with like the Campus DLC, Industries DLC, and I don't know if I'm going to go to trams, buses. Certainly going to get into the public transportation at that point. I feel like real estate markets would be a cool thing to add in the background to a city's game, maybe a system that more deeply affects land values and desirability in an area. I think that would actually be kind of cool. I know it's going to be more complex to code that. I think it would be actually really cool if you had values increase because of a lack of housing or a lack of retail space or something like that. That would be really interesting. So the other thing I want to tell you guys about is I do have Patreon. If you want to get early access, which hopefully will be, actually, and you want to get ad-free access, then $1 for the ad-free, and you get the entire library for $1. And then $3 a month is the that's rehearsal level. $1 is ticket level. Rehearsal level and above gets you early access as well, and you even get some behind-the-scenes stuff. Like you can actually see a rough cut of More Money, Less Traffic Series 2, Part 7. Oh, and here's another one. I got to plug this. I have a pet project. You're probably going to see this on YouTube come out soon, but if you are at ticket level, any of my Patreon subscribers, if you only spend $1, it's totally worth it. Check out Quick Metropolis, especially if you're a newer player to the game and you want to see how to get a good game started in just 20 minutes. It is fast moving, but it's basically covering a lot of the stuff that I cover in More Money, Less Traffic just in 20 minutes to get to, well, basically further than I've gotten part 2, but the first, get all the way to 8,500 sims in the very first episode. Check that out. It'll probably be hitting YouTube in the next month or so. I'm going to release it somewhere around the same time as More Money, Less Traffic, parts 7, 8, 9. So thank you so much. I hope you had a good time. I certainly did. I will just say now, so long.